come back home. For real, what girl you give me, you just don't know. Call me up, if I had to guess, you might be one of the best. Call me up, brighten up the room wherever you go. The sunlight will make you glow. Cut the lights, come back home. For real, what girl you give me, you just don't know.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, hold on. I got to take down the, I forgot to take down the screenshot. There we go. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? Gadfly, Sean Kallmeyer is here, and the creator of that incredible song, Camille Gadfly, is here. How
I'm
are
here.
you guys feeling?
I'm feeling good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. You sound terrific.
Okay.
Well, I have
thank you.
I have this much coffee to go before I'm going to be fully awake.
I decided to go with the mega gulp because we were out early this morning, and so I went with the mega Diet Coke, and we had to take a car in for some service. So hello, chat. How are you? It's good to see you. Good to be back. And when you get here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you're on YouTube, and don't forget to share, like and share on Facebook. Greetings from Germany again. Oh my goodness. The international crowd will never cease to impress me. We have a newcomer today, Carolyn. Carolyn is here for the first time. Get ready, Carolyn. You're about to meet friends for life. Or you're going to run away screaming.
Right.
It's one or the other. I don't know.
Guten Morgen, Germany.
Yeah, that's how you say it. I was trying to remember how to say good morning in German, and I couldn't do it the other day. All right, everybody is really ticked off at Elaine Bredehoft. Did you guys see her lying tour that she's on?
Yeah. Yes.
What did you think about that, Sean, as an attorney yourself?
Well, I was really, really troubled by it. And I think that it's at least possible that she may have committed ethics violations in what she was doing. Impugning the work of a jury is pretty offensive, and I think it might run afoul of an ethical rule. So, I was pretty vocal about saying that I thought that Elaine was doing the best she could with a really shitty case, and batshit crazy client who get help, Amber.
I like how every time we mention her, it's get help, Amber. Please send help.
But then when she turns around and goes on basically the talk show junket and starts saying things like that the jury got it the jury got it wrong, and that it was because of A, B, and C. I mean, it's one thing to say that you think that the jury got the case wrong. I mean, good lawyers lose good cases, every day in courtrooms around the world. But it's another thing altogether, to say the sorts of things that she was saying.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Gadfly? Did you watch her lying tour? I'm calling it the lying tour.
I saw the Today Show and the CNN one.
And what did you think?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you on that, because it seemed like I feel like you shouldn't just, if you lose a case, shouldn't just be like, well, the jury was rigged. It was all rigged. Doesn't count.
Well, Stephanie said she is impugning the integrity of the jury and offering no evidence. Stephanie's going to be here, by the way. She's just a little bit late and gay, as they would say in the chat. But why on earth, Sean, isn't that an ethics violation of some sort if an attorney, an officer of the court is doing that? Oh, Washington rules of professional conduct. Okay, yeah. Let's hear what's
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, let's hear what's in there, because I don't think that that's allowed.
I didn't get a chance to go through this before the show, and I think if she were doing this in Washington, I think that where she would be falling afoul of that would be in the preamble to the rules of professional conduct, and the preamble is different. This is an interesting moment that I can plug my other website, which is back up, unethicalkarma.com, which is about teaching largely pro se family law litigants how to file bar complaints against unethical divorce attorneys. But one of the pages on my website has all of the 54 jurisdictions in the United States, all of their rules of professional conduct. So you can go there, you can click on it, and you can find your state's rules. And it includes Virginia's. So I don't know. I would have to dig a little bit more about that. But I completely agree with Stephanie about the fact that she's impugning the work of a jury without any evidence. And, defaming a court, disparaging a court is a real thing. Sometimes people in family law particularly wind up with real problems with that. I mean, in that movie, Divorce Corp, they explored a guy who wound up in prison for defaming the court. So for an attorney to do it, she's dancing on top of an ethical landmine.
Does she practice in Virginia? Is that her state? Is she? I think she is.
Well, she either practices in Virginia or she brought a motion pro hoc vice to be able to practice in Virginia. And a motion pro hoc vice is fancy lawyer speak for a motion that says, I'm admitted in a different state. Please allow me to practice law in the state that I'm not admitted in for this case only. So I don't know where she...
Okay, I'll tell you. Elaine Bredehoft, Miss Bredehoft, a native of northern Minnesota, has been successfully trying cases in state and federal courts in Virginia and Maryland and the District of Columbia since 1984. So those are her three main. So yeah, it's not like she doesn't know the deal there. And I don't know. I personally thought to go on television and accuse the jury of breaking the rules, because that's what she's doing. She's accusing the jury of corruption, of saying they did not stay away from the media. They were on a break. They couldn't have. They talked to family members. They did this and that. Yet she offered not one shred of evidence that that's true. Now, we here on this program, we did say that would be pretty difficult to stay away from the news. But we're not offering, I'm not saying I think that they did anything wrong. I think that those people seem to have taken their job very seriously. And I don't think any of them wanted a mistrial. And we didn't get any reports that any of the jury was misbehaving. And don't you think with a case this big, don't you think that there would be an effort to pay attention to what the jury was up to on their social media accounts, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, probably here's what I guess probably happened is those jurors went home and they, said to their spouse and their family, and they said, look, I just got, sucked into the, Johnny Depp case, and I'm not allowed to have any social media. So here's my phone. Stick it in the, stick it in the
That's what I would have to do. That's what I would have to do.
Right.
But I mean, to be a part of that, I would do it. I would do it. What about you?
And I bet you many of them did. And did you catch that there was a juror that spoke out yesterday?
Well, so there's been some, so I was going to bring that up. There's been some question of whether or not he's real. He seemed real to me, but there's no way to tell because he's anonymous and he put up an anonymous TikTok account. DUI guy says he's not real, but his only evidence of saying he's not real is that he won't talk to DUI guy. And frankly, to me, that's not evidence that he's not really a juror. That just means he really doesn't want to be known. And I think that would make sense. And to me, it wasn't like let me see if I can pull it up. You guys talk about it. I'll see if I can pull it up because you guys think he's fake. You don't believe that was a juror.
We haven't seen his face or anything like that either.
No, you can't see his face.
Have you listened to it, Gabrielle?
No, I haven't listened to it, but I would say if you are not comfortable privately proving yourself to either DUI guy or James from court or Runkle of the Bailey or whoever has been there, then it's kind of weird. I'm not going to take your word for it.
I'm not going to take his word for it either, but I will say that it came off as credible to me. That doesn't mean
I'm going to save my argument as to why I think it's credible until after you play his little clip.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on. I'm gonna find it. You guys
And
talk.
would I stay off social media if I was a juror? No, I would not. I would just
You would
lie and
not?
say that I did.
I
Yeah.
love your honesty. I love your
Yeah, I would
honesty.
absolutely lie. I mean, just because like I would probably try to not actively seek it out. It's kind of like how I would do the same way that I like try to avoid spoilers for a movie. I'm like, I'm not gonna click on anything that says anything about it, but I'm not gonna like not watch any YouTube or do anything online for 6 weeks.
Well,
Not a
Jeff,
chance for me.
let me ask you if you would still feel the same way if I play the role of the judge here for a minute.
Okay.
You're an impaneled juror, right? And the judge says to you and the other jurors and says, this is a high profile case. You must stay off of social media. And it's important that we be able to get through this case with the, alternates that we have. And if we have jurors that are not obeying these rules, we potentially won't be able to get through this case, and that could create a problem. And I'm prepared to hold jurors in contempt if they don't follow the court's orders. So stay off of social media. Take your phone home, put it in a safe. Don't watch the news. Don't read the paper. Just get the information about this case inside of those 4 walls. If a judge said that to you and told you that, that the potential for being held in contempt of court was there, then would you still, break that edict?
I mean, probably, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it on purpose.
Okay,
But you
I would
could get,
definitely.
here's how you would get
definitely-
caught. Here's how
Okay.
you would get caught, and here's why it's important too, if you are on a jury, to pay attention to the judge. Because as you're scrolling through social media, you might accidentally, like I do all the time, have a reflex where you hit that like button or that heart button, and you don't even realize you did it. And then somebody sees you do it, and now you've just wrecked an entire trial. I would have to take the apps off my phone. I think that's what I would have to do.
Well, I don't
Stephanie-
like anything other than my own stuff. Come on now. No, I'm just kidding.
Stephanie, thank you for joining us today, Stephanie Kimbrell Esquire. We are the chat's happy to see you. They are all saying hello. Now, listen, you saw Elaine Bredehoft's lying spree that she went on the media. We want to get your take on it real quick, and then we're going to show this guy who claims to be a member of the jury speaking out on TikTok. I find it credible. Sean thinks it's credible. Gadfly thinks it's fake. So does, or do you? Do you think it's fake, Gadfly?
I don't think one way or the other.
You don't know one way.
I choose not to believe until someone has proven it somehow.
Okay, so a bunch of LawTube thinks it's fake. I don't, but that doesn't mean anything. Stephanie, what do you think about Elaine's lying to her? Let's get to that first, and then we'll go to the juror.
Oh, Elaine's lying to her. I thought it was awful. I couldn't believe that. When I saw some of those clips yesterday, I thought, what is she doing? What is she doing? This is totally unprofessional. This is doubling down on stupid. This is her claiming, oh, what a setback this is for women. No, this is a setback for women who lie. This is a setback for people who are perpetrating hoaxes. This is a Jussie Smollett sort of setback. This setback for liars. This is not a setback for women who are real victims of abuse, except in the sense that now some of those women who are legit victims will maybe not be believed, because people might be thinking, is she pulling an Amber Heard? I've already used that phrase in my office. I have already used that phrase. She's pulling an Amber Heard.
Well, but some people do. But
they do.
I have gotten email after email, because I asked for them, and continue to send them, please, ladies or gentlemen. If you've been a victim of domestic abuse and you don't believe Amber Heard and she doesn't speak for you, I want to know why. And I've gotten so many emails from them. We're going to go over that later today during the stream. I've gotten emails from women saying, I'm a real victim of domestic violence, and I believe every one of them. I believe every one of them, just because of the way they told me the story to begin with. What they're saying is what we've been saying from the beginning. If you have suffered a beating like she says she did, and like I have suffered a beating, is what these women are saying, you would have medical records this big. One woman said when she got punched one time in the face, her face swelled up 2-3 times the size here with a dark bruise. And she said, if I had been punched again, I would have passed out. Even just 2 times. One time almost knocked her out. by a grown man. The idea that Amber Heard survived a multiple beating in the face by a grown man with a fist and rings without going to the hospital is not credible. It's
No,
just not
completely
credible.
not credible.
Her mountain of evidence was garbage evidence.
That's another thing. Elaine's going on and on about the evidence. I'm thinking, Elaine, we saw the evidence. The jury saw the evidence. It wasn't a mountain of persuasive evidence by any means. In fact, her evidence proved Johnny's case.
Here's her evidence. Here's one of her best pictures on the far left. That's Amber Heard's scalp after she said that Johnny swung her around by the hair and pulled her hair out. She says this photograph shows blood and pus. My scalp is in the middle. Gadfly's is on the right side. And I dare you to tell the difference between our pasty Caucasian scalps. And neither Gadfly nor I have any. Sean, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Is he working?
No, he was punching something. I'm not sure what he was punching. But I mean, you cannot tell the difference between those two healthy scalps and hers. And that's the evidence. That's one of the best pieces of evidence she gave.
Worse than that, the photos of the supposed bruise from this terrible beating. I'm sorry. It wasn't believable. Those two side-by-side pictures where one was obviously enhanced to get more vibrant colors, it could not be more clear. But beyond all that is the issue of her credibility. Once a witness on the stand lies right to your face about stuff that's provably shown to be false, what do you think is going to happen, Elaine? The jury saw those times when she flat out lied and doubled down on her lies. Like that ridiculous, I pledged it means the same as I donated it. No, Amber, actually it doesn't. And now the jury sees that you are lying about giving money to sick and dying children. The natural conclusion by a decision maker, by a trier of fact is, what else is she lying about? Gee, probably everything. Probably everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Put that together with the best evidence in this case, which were the videos and the sound recordings that she made of her being a full-on terrifying harpy witch, treating him like dirt.
Who is clearly not scared at all. Not
scared at all. And he's the one who everyone heard that and went, oh my God, she's an abuser. She is abusing him. Put it together with that. And it's like, what, Elaine, how can you be thinking that this didn't make sense? The jury's verdict made total sense.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go over.
You asked me a question. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I just took my copy of the court rules, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, 300-400 pages or so. Held a piece of notebook paper over it, right? And, with my class ring, right?
Yeah.
I just punched the thing 3 times.
Yeah.
At about half strength, right?
I saw you doing that. I was like, why is Sean punching a book?
Right. I'm a grown man, right? And so, here's where I, took the, I circled the dents that I made in the back of the book, right? And that's only half strength.
Right.
Right. Any man, right?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It's going to look at this and go, if I were to punch someone full strength, right, wearing rings,
it would leave a mark.
It's going to leave a mark. I'm going to really hurt someone. Hey,
no, Emily, I didn't
tell me I'm wrong.
No, funny. You're not wrong. Anytime she was like, I thought I was going to die that night. If Johnny wanted to kill you, you'd be dead in 3 seconds.
She should have been dead. She should have been dead after what she described. She should have been dead after the night.
Oh, yeah.
With the bottle,
at the very
glass.
Least, she should have looked like
a
pummeled mess.
Yeah.
We didn't have one photograph of her looking truly damaged. And worse, we had photographs of her on the day of or the day after, like that one with her at that Don Rickles thing where he broke her nose and she's looking like a perfect angel. Come on. No one believes this.
Yeah, didn't Rihanna say she was punched 3 times?
And look at Rihanna's
2 or 3
face.
times. Only 2 or 3 times. And her face, it was a total mess.
Yeah, bring it up. Bring your face up.
Oh, okay.
She was severely injured.
Yeah.
Severely injured.
And that was a man who was, he was driving and backhanding her.
Right.
No, he was stopped. She threw his Lambo keys in the bush and then he got upset.
Well, you would think that with Johnny supposedly pummeling her with all those rings too many times for her to remember.
Yeah, no.
There would be something.
It
there
doesn't
would
make any
be
sense.
Something. There was nothing. If she had medical evidence that could have proven more, these. Okay, here's where I lost it yesterday with Elaine. She says something about, now think of all those poor women who don't have any evidence. They're not going to be. And I'm thinking, okay, Elaine, this is called a courtroom. In
This is
courtrooms,
Rihanna.
that's horrible. In courtrooms, we make
Super
decisions based on something called, wait, what is it? Evidence. That's right. You have to have evidence. So she's on TV making these claims like
Well, she's pretending like
alleged-
women who are abused don't have any evidence. I'm sorry. I've got women in my inbox. They had mountains of evidence. They actually have evidence. They have
Right.
photographs of themselves.
Right.
One woman said her husband broke all 4 fingers and one of them is still
They have
disfigured.
doctors' records,
All she would have to
medical
do is
reports,
show them her
her
hand.
broken
Look at my disfigured finger. Look at the. She also said that the bruises, because he hit her so many times repeatedly, she has permanent bruising on her face. There are capillaries that will never heal, and so she has discoloration forever and scar tissue. I mean, and I'm sorry, ladies, by the way, ladies, those of you sending me your stories, my God, my heart goes out to you. I'm so glad you have left these situations. What you suffered, no one should ever suffer. And this is what makes me so angry, is that she is trying to take these stories, take these women's stories, and use them to make herself above.
Disgusting.
It's
that
just
is disgusting.
It's horrific. I won't stand for it. I'm not letting these people get away with it. Do not.
But to go back to the point on the law that makes me so crazy about what Elaine said yesterday, I feel like, is she actually suggesting that victims, alleged victims of domestic violence, should be able to come into court with no evidence and find a man guilty? What is she talking about?
Exactly what she said. That is exactly what she said.
That is not how the legal system works. It's insane to suggest
No,
that.
it's not. And by the way,
of course
ladies,
you have to have evidence.
Parents,
but Stephanie, let's be real. I mean, that is how family court works a lot of the time. I mean, the women walk in there all the time and say, "I have no evidence. It happened behind closed doors. Please believe me." Right?
Well, okay, but getting back to this, wait a minute.
But not in criminal court, Sean. You would never get away with that in criminal court.
But someone's testimony in a family situation, someone's testimony that they were abused is evidence and could be believable if the person is believable. But for her to suggest that you don't need any evidence at all you need is someone who's not even credible, someone like Amber who's completely not credible, coming in and making these claims with no other evidence. I mean, I don't know what she's talking about. What are you talking about? You should have to have evidence. And Sean, I've heard you say a couple of times that where you are in your jurisdiction, in domestic violence situations, they permit all kinds of stuff in, hearsay, whatever. It doesn't, they don't apply the rules of evidence. That is not the case where I am. Thank God. The courts still actually will, if someone objects, they will consider, is this a violation of the rules of evidence?
King County is nuts. I mean, there is a specific ethical rule that allows a commissioner or a judge to consider hearsay on domestic violence issues, and I object every time. And every time they say I can consider hearsay, and that's what I think is so incredibly dangerous about this. I mean, yes, you're right. Testimony evidence is evidence, but when that's all it is. Right. And you're talking about things that are as life-changing as domestic violence and such like that. It flies in the face of rationality, especially today, that's the only evidence they've got.
Well, if that's all the evidence they have and the person saying it has been shown to be a liar over and over and over again, well, then all of a sudden, what is the value of her testimony? By any logical assessment, the value of her testimony is zero. It's
It's zero.
And Stephanie is absolutely right that a jury always has the credibility determination, and they have the absolute right to listen to the testimony of anybody and say, I don't believe that person, and here's why. And when you lie to a jury, when you lie in court, they absolutely have the right to say, it doesn't matter. They lie once. I think they're a lying sack
about everything. And she lied about stupid things. She lied about stupid things. So then they ask themselves, wait a minute, if she would lie about these stupid things, would she lie about something that $50 million is riding on? Yep, I think she would.
I think she absolutely would. Listen, I want to bring it back to this book that I wrote, because I wrote something in here that is really important for parents with kids, and or anyone who wants to make sure that your abuser, your attacker, gets held accountable. In Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo, the last chapter is how to heartbeat-proof your daughter. And one of the things I have in here is called Teach Her to Seek Justice. So if you want to know how you can get justice, I have an entire chapter in here. And one of the things, I've made a bullet point list of all the things you need to do if you are attacked, or if your daughter's attacked, or your son for that matter. This goes for anyone who is attacked by any kind of abuser. These are the things that you need to pound into the heads of your kids right now today, so that they remember these things. 1, fight like hell to get away. And if that fails, try to scratch and claw at the attacker to preserve DNA under your fingernails. This is very important. That is DNA evidence. That is put you in jail for life evidence. So if the one thing you remember, you can claw at the soft tissue of eyeballs, by the way. This is a great way to get DNA under your fingertips. You have to think about these things. I know it sounds terrible, but this is what you have to think of. Hair. Pull hair out, keep hair, get blood. If there's blood, if you get scratched on the face and you get blood, get that blood under your fingernails. You have to think about these things. The second thing is, after an assault, the very first thing to do is get to a safe place and then call the police and your parents or someone who can come and help you. Okay, you must come forward. That has to happen, and it has to happen immediately. Before you take a shower, do not take a shower. Do not wash your hands. This is all about preserving at this point. We're not talking about preventing an incident. We're talking about if the worst happens, these are the things you have to do. Do not shower or change your clothes or even wash your hands. Evidence has to be preserved. Get to a hospital for a rape kit. It's a horrifying experience. You will not enjoy it, but this is how you get your attacker. As soon as possible, you do that. Do not be afraid to name the attacker if it's someone familiar to you. Although it's tough to imagine that a relative or someone close to your family could be a rapist or an attacker, it happens frequently. Over 70% of rapes are committed by someone known to the victim. Make sure your daughter or son knows that they can tell you anything. Also, make sure that if the person does delay in coming forward and does not do the things listed above, that you make sure you tell them that makes it harder to seek justice. So you have to know that if you don't do those things and you don't come forward right away, it does make it harder, because criminal court is beyond a reasonable doubt. So DNA evidence, preserving that evidence, that is very, very important. So just that, there's a lot of good stuff in here. If you guys have not picked it up, I think it's $3 on Amazon right now on the Kindle version. It would make a great present for a college age kid going off to college. This is a really good thing to send with your kids. Michelle Malkin, by the way, bought this book for her son and sent it with him to college. She told me it was a great book for him. It will definitely wake your kids up to what can happen to them as far as false allegations, etc.
And speaking of college and boys who are falsely accused of stuff, now this is not to say that some boys are not absolutely.
Look at this comment. I'm dying. You're saying I shouldn't make my attacker coffee in the morning after he rapes me with a whiskey bottle.
That's a no.
That's a no. You should have taken the whiskey bottle to the police for DNA.
Hello? Right. So Sean's like, I'm out. I'm out of here on that comment.
Yeah, disavow. No, but you're exactly right, Megan. I think we've talked about this before, but I definitely have like a huge amount of sympathy for someone who doesn't want to do any of those things, and just wants to be like, I'm just gonna stay here, I'm gonna accept this situation is happening, and then I'm gonna try to move on with my life afterwards. And someone said in the comments, if you have someone that's super trusted to you that can kind of help you through that whole basically right away aspect,
you do want to bring someone with you, a support person with you.
Yeah, because you're traumatized.
And even the female nurses that will be they're called SANE nurses. Even they cannot, they can't be that person for you. They see it all the time, and it's possible they just won't be what you need. So you definitely need to have a mother, a sister, a friend, someone who can come with you to help you through that, because it's traumatizing. There's no doubt about it that going to a hospital for the grape kit is traumatizing.
So I want to say, Meg, what I was starting to say about your book. This is not to minimize the actual victims of sexual violence or domestic violence that happen on college campuses. For sure that happens. I'm sure it happens all the time. I have no doubt it does happen. However, they in the last several years have totally gotten rid of the idea of due process for people who are accused of this. And sometimes when they are accused, it is falsely. Sometimes people are pulling an Amber Heard, and your sons, if you're sending sons off to college, that book you need to have. After Amber Heard, everyone.
There's a whole chapter on here about college and Title IX and what your sons need to do. There's a whole chapter here on how to heartbeat-proof your son and keep that from happening to him. And I'm sorry to say, but as far as sexual encounters go, it's best to tell him to wait until he finds that woman he's going to spend the rest of his life with, because my God.
Gee, what a novel idea.
Or your only other option is get multitudinous on video, perhaps all through the encounter. Consent. All right, now we're going to do this. Do you consent, and get it on video?
What?
I'm not kidding. There's no other way.
Killing the mood.
Well,
that's
crazy.
Screwed up, basically, because what Megan is saying is that in order to have sex, you'd have to do amateur porn.
Yep.
I was going to say it only kills the mood if you stop recording after the consent. Okay?
Some people, you guys, actually do have their rooms wired with cameras, and they do record every single encounter. And that has saved people from being arrested. I just saw a lawyer on Twitter. I played it on the stream the other day. I don't know, some of you were here, some of you might not have been, but I played this lawyer saying, the only thing that saved my client from these horrific, and she brought every kind of grape allegation you can think of against him, including heinous acts. The only thing that saved him was that it was a Craigslist encounter, and he had recorded the entire event unknown to her. So when
but that can be a crime.
Well, I get only if you release it out in the public. If
it's
not
in
if
some
you are
jurisdictions,
if
it's a
you
crime
use
to
it,
record it.
well, maybe. I don't know. But I will say this. I would rather risk it that I was in violation of some law than not have it if I needed it for the police.
Right. Because
once the police saw it, they dropped all the charges.
Yeah. The wrongful recording is far less of a punishment than being charged with first-degree rape and assault. And who knows
don't
what else.
say the grape word, because YouTube will kick me off. So
sorry.
Say grape instead. They don't like it.
Say grape?
Yeah, say grape instead. But of course, it's probably too late. I've already said it like 3 times, but we're trying not to say it because YouTube hates it.
What a weird... Okay.
So surreptitiously recording in California is a felony.
Not really.
You're just going to have to take my word for it. I mean, you could speak to a lawyer, but I think it would be better for you to be charged with surreptitiously recording than with heinous
first-degree assault. Yeah.
Look, this is an untrue thing that people say about California, that it's a 2-party recording state and no one can ever record anybody. Okay, explain that to every YouTuber who lives in Los Angeles who's filming strangers constantly.
Well, that's in public. That's in public.
No, you certainly can, but people also film in other areas that are not public, like museums, or not museums.
There's
like,
no expectation of privacy in a place that's a public building,
or in a restaurant,
or on the street. So that is perfectly fine to record, but it's the places where you have an expectation of privacy that those laws apply.
Right.
Well, this is what I'm saying. They're so far and few between in Los Angeles that
places where you have an expectation of privacy.
Yeah, so people say that, and I'm like, well, that doesn't what do you?
Well,
where are you talking about?
Alex,
bedrooms.
but also maybe don't have sex with someone on Craigslist.
Right, Alex. How smart are you?
That's probably a good idea.
You are exactly right. Don't do stuff like that.
That's also
don't do that.
Very risky behavior.
Just don't.
Behavior. Yes, Sean.
Yes, Sean.
So I think the thing that might be for being overlooked and forgotten in this conversation is that if you are recording somebody for the purpose of protecting yourself, right, and they don't know about it, then at least hopefully you've got enough of a brain that you keep that stuff and it never goes anywhere.
Right.
And
except for your defense.
Right.
Right. And the only time it would ever show up would be if someone were making some false accusations against you.
Right.
And there's a significant body of case law that says that, and it varies, so it's not completely black and white, but there's a significant body of case law that says that even illegally gathered evidence is admissible for the purpose of impeachment.
Ooh.
So, to the extent that someone comes along and says, I, met Gadfly, after, a Craigslist ad, and we went back to my place, and, I just enjoyed, a new experience with Gadfly. You look
Thank you.
Why, thank you.
right? And then Gadfly goes running down the road saying, that, I sodomized him with a broken, whiskey bottle. And, and then he files charges against me, and that train gets rolling. Well, then, now this illegally gathered evidence can come in. Right. So, that's the only real concern. And the other thing too to remember about this is that while maybe you need to film people, then you also need to be telling people about, what it means that, you take these images and you keep these images private and you don't share them with anybody. That just does not happen, right? Revenge porn is, absolutely
That's
inappropriate.
illegal. That's illegal.
Right.
So like you could never share them with anyone. What I'm saying is it's self-preservation only, and only for the eyes of police should you be accused. And I personally would rather break that law than be accused of a heinous crime.
Yeah, or just be old-fashioned about it and don't be having sex with every random person.
Yeah, that's the
Just
better
stop it.
choice. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
better
a better
choice.
choice. That's a better choice for your kids. I'm sorry, but it
But
just
college
is.
kids, but Stephanie, I'm telling you, college kids do stupid things and they make dumb decisions. They need to be sat down and talked to very seriously about what could happen to them in these.
And young and not to be too glib about it, and young guys think with their dicks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
and
I would say
and
that-
if they run into an Amber who knows how to weaponize that, and reel them in, they're like powerless to it.
They need help.
She's
They
a
need help
9,
learning
10
how
on
not to do that.
She's a 10 out of 10 on the crazy hot matrix. Most men do not have the willpower to say no to that. Just period. Even after knowing what she is, I guarantee you, she is
Some
going to
crazy guy is going to take
and
her
it
on.
No. Not some crazy guy.
It'll be
8 out of 10 guys would still absolutely.
Are you serious? Oh,
hook
I'm
up with
so
Amber
sorry
Heard.
for men.
Definitely.
So their brains just don't work.
It just don't work.
Their actual brains just don't work, because I'm sorry, she should be untouchable after this.
But she won't be.
After what
not.
everyone heard, the way she's treated that man.
She's gonna land another billionaire. I
Absolutely, she will.
guarantee it.
Really? That is so sad to me. This is why the Bible says that men need women. They really need women.
Good
and
women.
people agree with you. They need Amber Heard. We all agree.
But it would be better if you guys would realize what you really need is you need a good woman. You don't
Troglodyte says higher brain function stops when going after it. This is something
Isn't that sad?
You men need to work on.
You men need to.
It's a weakness. It's a weakness. It's a weakness that women exploit. You don't understand. Women know this. This is not like a secret or anything. And so women like Amber will exploit that weakness in you to destroy your life. So wake up.
Like a spider. Like one of those spiders.
Yeah,
hiding under a rock.
But those 30 minutes were pretty cool. So,
I mean, what'd you say?
I said those 30 minutes were pretty cool. Who needs a life? You know what I mean?
Who needs a life? You're like, I don't have much anyway.
Hang on one second about this, okay? Look, it is absolutely possible to be a young person or a middle-aged person and be a sexual creature and have sexual partners and not have these experiences. Okay,
Yes.
I mean, when there's a certain amount of luck involved, right? But it is possible to not have these experiences, and sometimes you just get it wrong, right? Johnny probably just got it wrong with this woman.
Probably.
But,
you want to rephrase that, counselor?
But I mean in the beginning. Right? In the very beginning, he probably just missed some signs, right? But there's also somewhat impossible to predict these things.
All the signs.
Missed all the signs, right? But it can also just be impossible to predict these things. You just don't know,
No,
right?
You don't know.
Well,
All right, listen. Can we get to the juror because people want to
Yeah,
see
the
this.
juror. Let's stop
Let-
talking
let's-
about the sex.
Yeah, let's
All right,
get to the
I'll
juror.
be back. Hold on, I have to go get my plug.
Oh, well, I want you to hear this, so we'll keep talking about
Just
the
keep-
sex until you get back. Okay.
Well, I don't appreciate all the Craigslist hate. Look, you can get some good things on Craigslist, okay? Don't drag the whole
Well,
site
no,
down.
you get like speakers, at a good
Yeah.
price. But I wouldn't suggest going to that Craigslist Encounters spot.
No,
That's
no.
where all the trafficking is happening.
Don't do
These-
that, but
these
It's
are-
gone.
You can go pick up like a free
It's gone.
piano today if you want to.
That's
It's
true.
gone. Craigslist
What's gone?
Encounters is gone.
Oh, see what do I know?
It's been gone.
STFU
It's been-
says. I love that your screen name is "Shut the fuck up" for fuck's sake.
Mhm.
$5
one.
super chat. Thank you. FTR, as an old guy, I consult my peen on 98.9% of decisions too. And he's very convincing, and no jury of my peers would disagree with my reasoning. I swear you guys just like to make me read these things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I mean, it is a, I'm joking, of course, a little bit, but it is a real thing that people be like, I mean, if some guy, especially if you're younger, and some guy comes back or it's one of your friends and they go, dude, that chick is crazy. You go, oh, awesome. Where do I sign up?
Where do I sign up? Iron Dog says, I need a good Catholic lady like Megan. Does she have single sisters? Well, no, we're all married for a long time. Stephanie's one of them. She's one of my sisters. The other one is also married.
I've been married for 28 years.
Do you know where you can find a single Catholic lady? At Mass. Get yourself to Mass and you'll find some because they're there.
I want you to post an ad. Find single Catholic ladies.
Just
Get
go to
yourself
Mass. Just get yourself to Mass. That's all. And guess what, ladies? If you're looking for a single Catholic man, God marks them for you once a year on Ash Wednesday. You will see them. They're walking around with ash marks on their foreheads. They're everywhere. It's the one day of the year on Ash Wednesday where if you're looking for a Catholic woman or man, they're all marked on the forehead. So Ash Wednesday is your day. Get out there, get to Mass, and then you can see all the Catholics around you wherever you are. It's great.
Look, I had a really bad joke, but it's very blasphemous of me, so I
Justin
won't.
says, is Gadfly married? Cause meow.
Agreed,
Girlfly is in the house. Girlfly is in the house, but she's not his wife. They are. I think she's just the girlfriend at this.
No ring on my finger, Justin. Come on.
Oh man. All right, are you ready for the maybe juror? The chat does not seem to believe it. Oh, I'm gonna go put a poll while we're listening to this in the YouTubes, via the internets and the Googles, and I'm gonna ask you if you think this is real or fake. Here we
forgot
go.
the Twitters, which Elaine loves.
The Twitters via the internets.
So today was my last day of being a juror on the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. And I wish to remain anonymous, but I thought I'd give some insight on my thoughts about the trial. I don't follow pop culture too much, so I haven't really been a fan of Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, so I feel I was able to be pretty unbiased about the whole thing. But from the very beginning, when Amber Heard was testifying, everything just seemed so off with how she kept making eye contact with me, and it made me extremely uncomfortable to where I would no longer look over at her when she was giving her answers. I would just listen intently, and everything she was saying came off like bullshit. And I wasn't following anything on TikTok during the whole trial, and I was scrolling through after the trial, and blows my mind on how every single person seemed to be commenting on how weird it was. So, good news for Johnny Depp. That was my gut feeling after all the information in the trial. But Amber Heard, what a crazy woman. So today was my last
All right,
day of
hold
being
on. Let me
a
stop
juror
that.
on the Amber.
All right. Now he also. What do you think about that testimony? Let's start with Sean.
So my thoughts on this are this. Okay, he's got detail that rings true with everything else, right? We've commented on how jurors would not look at Amber. Well, here he comes in with a a reason, a specific reason why. He's able to answer questions that are that perhaps a faker could answer as well, but the level of detail within it seems to, ring true too. So, is it possible he's a faker? Sure. I don't think he is, but it's possible he is.
Okay, there's some questions here people asked him that he also answered. Like, what was your reaction when her dog stepped on a bee? And he said she seemed to be just pulling stories out of the air at that point. One person said, it was killing me to know if the jury was uncomfortable with Amber's stare down. I was uncomfortable just watching it on TV. I felt bad for you guys. He said I couldn't even look at her anymore. Now, we did hear from law tubers inside the courtroom that the jury was not looking at her. And also people saying, well, would he really put this on TikTok? Remember, the jury was in their 20s to 30s. These are young people. Most of them were young. So I'm not surprised that it would come out on TikTok. However, there is no way. I'm not saying this is real. I'm saying we don't know. We can't verify that it's real, but it didn't seem very salacious and it wasn't over the top. And it just sounded like that. And this one says, come on, anyone could make a video saying they were one of the jurors. He says, the world is a better place with curiosity and being speculative. Being speculative about information is one of the best things about science. I don't understand that response.
I do.
What is
I
that?
get it. People like to speculate about things. This is total speculation, though. There's no way to know if this guy actually is a juror. I mean,
This guy is saying he's a pro skeptic. That's pretty much all he's saying.
Yeah, and he could be, or this could be totally fake. Who knows?
Could be. Yeah.
Who knows? But I think
okay, but another thing that he did say, and I don't know where it is on here, but they asked him, why did you guys give Amber Heard anything?
Yeah.
And what he said was, it was a compromise.
That's what
which
that
is
guy
exactly
in the said.
That's exactly what what Rekieta said, what Andrew Branca said. They said, we've seen this a million times. It doesn't mean they believe her. It means they wanted to go home.
Well, I think
and somebody was dragging it out.
It's clear that they did not believe her. Otherwise, Johnny wouldn't have won all three of his claims.
Right. Let me throw one little extra bit in there about his anonymity. If I were a juror right now from this case, I would do one of two things. I would be making a decision as to whether or not I wanted to just go back to obscurity, in which case I would just keep my mouth shut and I wouldn't say a damn word. Or two, right, I would be making a decision as to whether or not I wanted to write my book or whatever. And if I wanted to write my book, right, I would be being very careful about, lining up the right sorts of people in order to do that before I show my face somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
And that's maybe exactly what this guy is doing. Or there might be the sort of the third path in between. They want to say a few words and then they want to go back to their life.
Without ever revealing who they were.
I could understand why you would not show your face.
Oh my gosh.
And I also would understand why you wouldn't want to talk to anyone. You just wanted to put your statements out there. John Della Rose, thanks for coming here. Thanks for being here today. I know you're
Thanks for having me, my friends.
I know you're watching tennis. So
it was terrible. It was a really tight match. This is the French Open going on for the Americans that aren't paying attention to this, but everybody else in the world is. Rafael Nadal, who I'm sure everybody knows who he is playing up against the up-and-comer Alexander Zverev. And Zverev rolled his ankle and maybe broke it. So the match ended because of that. Sucks.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, I hope his ankle gets better. Well,
I hope he's all right.
John, did you get to see Elaine Bredehoft making her lying tour across the...
Did you get to see Elaine extending her 15 minutes of fame, which is what she's doing?
Yeah.
I've been I have shut everything down after the trial ended, and I've just been watching tennis, and I got my Twitter back. So I've been banned for the last year.
That's right.
On Twitter.
You got your Twitter back.
Find you. Okay.
Yes, for hate speech. And I appealed it. I just kept appealing it over and over and over again, and I finally got it back.
What did you say that was so hateful?
Somebody was coming at me, and I get attacked a lot. And somebody was coming at me, calling me a racist on there.
I can't stand that. It's defamation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
is.
do it constantly. They do it
I
do it
want people
constantly.
to start suing for that.
and by the way,
So-
John Della Rose is the leading voice, the leading
Right.
Hispanic voice in science fiction. He
Yes.
is not a racist. He's literally a minority.
Right.
Can we please
And the
stop
guy-
calling him a racist?
It was a white guy doing it, of course. And
Of
so
course,
I
it always
said,
is.
you're the racist, whitey. And and then he reported. Yeah, he reported.
And he
me for that.
reported you. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
People should really stop calling minorities like John Della Rose racist because it's
I know.
extremely
Stop
offensive.
calling most people racist, because let's face it, there are definitely people out there who are.
For sure.
are.
Oh yeah.
But-
Yeah.
well,
I know
of course
one. One of
there
them's on
People
this
have-
stream right now.
People have gone way over the top with calling everybody that, and it's really atrocious.
And
It's
now doesn't
terrible.
mean anything. Now,
Yeah,
if I
it's,
see somebody using that word at all, I find that person suspect just for using that word. You know, it's like it's really sad how people have gone this far. So
Well, here's
Right,
here's
so
how
Scott
here's how
has
it
a-
works. People say
Yeah, go
like
ahead.
people are racist, and then oh my god, I can't think of the word right now or the movie title right now. It was the all Hispanic like musical that came out not too long ago.
oh yes.
And then the people who were calling people racist were complaining that these Hispanic people were too light skinned. And I'm like,
Ooh.
bro.
Oh yes, the white Hispanic
The
defense.
white Hispanic.
I'm like,
That's me.
That is
So
racist.
that's racist.
The white Hispanic defense is really offensive. It's
Oh,
extremely
that's-
offensive.
Ew,
It's
that is
extremely
so
offensive. Yeah.
Okay, but you guys, since you haven't seen, John hasn't seen it, and maybe some of the people watching haven't seen it, let's watch Elaine's lying tour on CBS Mornings with Oprah's best friend.
Virginia jury's
I'm excited.
decision to side with Johnny Depp in his defamation lawsuit is drawing both condemnation and praise. The verdict came after 6 weeks of very dramatic testimony from both sides. She claimed that he abused her while he said
I feel like I'm gonna have to stop this a lot so we don't get a copyright strike. So here I am commenting on this. We don't need to hear all this part. Let's go towards Elaine where she is. All right.
I got a
This
copyright
seems to
hit
be-
for playing one of Gadfly's songs the other day on my channel.
Oh, which
So,
one? Which one?
It was the John. It was the main trial one. It was not the Camille song. The Camille
Objection
song
Hearsay?
seems to be- Objection hearsay. Yeah.
What?
I got
That's
a hit
weird.
for that.
I never got a strike for that. Well, you just have to ask to beat it, and they'll send him an email at some point. So
Okay.
dispute it.
That's not even on YouTube Content ID right now. I don't.
I got it. It said it was copyrighted by CD Baby. So
Who is CD Baby?
That's one of the publishing sites I use. I don't use them anymore. I use DistroKid now. But
interesting.
yeah, that's so weird.
Well, just fight
Well,
it.
here's your
and
free
say you
legal
have
advice.
permission.
Yeah,
Godfly,
fight it
you
for
can-
sure.
Godfly, you could, if you want to, you can grant a limited license. And you can do it up front.
Yeah, I've stopped putting them on YouTube Content ID at this point. But yeah, definitely try to fight it. And if they send me an email, I'll of course allow it. I don't
Camille does not have any of that problem, so you won't have problem playing Camille.
That's why I
I played
switched over to
Camille.
CD Babies
I've
and
played
Hey, guys,
Camille
I-
4 times on that stream. Yes.
I have to pop
My
off
chat
for-
loves it.
for a minute.
All right, come back
I'll
when you
try to
can.
come back. Okay, bye.
All right. So let's hear what Elaine has to say on the lying tour.
huge victory for Johnny Depp this morning.
Yeah, a major setback for women.
Oh, God.
Already a major setback for women. Yeah, women
Oh,
who
gosh.
lie.
That's so funny. I love that the first woman is saying it's a major victory for Johnny Depp. She seems happy about it. Then Elaine's like, we got to correct the record here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
one
amazing.
guy on this actually that I think is really good.
Oh yeah, the football player. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get to it.
he's
Here we
really
go.
good.
For women inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Because
Because basically what this said, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence.
Pause it,
although
pause it,
a
pause
lot
it,
of
pause it.
was-
Okay. So you notice when the lady leads with because, and then she goes, because you could tell she's like stalling to like try to get her brain to process. She's like, I got to come up with some BS real fast here. And this is that was that body language right there. That's amazing. I love it. Okay.
Thanks for this super chat, STFU. He says, as half Mexican, half gringo, most epithets are hilarious to me.
Well, gracias, mi amigo.
Gracias.
pressed in this case as opposed to the UK. But look at all the women who have no evidence. All these women who suffer from domestic violence,
God.
domestic abuse.
Wait, why don't they have evidence? Why is she suggesting
Hmm.
that women who real victims don't have any evidence?
Because no
Hmm.
real victim has ever had evidence. Okay, that's what she's saying. They
Because
don't
the
have
women
it.
who have emailed me, they say they have stacks of medical records as evidence. They have bruises on they have pictures of their bruises. They have, injuries from all the abuse. Like, that's evidence.
I would
So
assume they also don't have recordings of them telling their significant other, "I'm hitting you, I'm not punching you," and also laughing like a cackling demon.
They didn't answer this question, what is a woman? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a biologist, so yeah.
we're not
Mm,
biologists. We can't
No.
answer that question. Wait a minute. I heard Elaine was supposed to be on Court TV today, and we were going to play it if she was, but you just heard that she canceled her Court TV appearance. Well, maybe she's in trouble for committing ethics violations on television by impugning the jury without any evidence.
You know what she's going to
Perhaps?
say, though? She's going to say, "I couldn't do it because someone threatened to put my dog in a microwave." She'll never be on TV again.
Let's go back. Let's go back one step though, because I think you guys both touched on something that's important about the lack of evidence, the behind closed doors argument. Both the U.S. Justice Department has an entire division that does nothing but statistics, and the Census Department have studied that exact issue. What is the prevalence of actual victims of domestic violence who suffer all of their DV behind closed doors and have no evidence of it? And everyone admits that it most almost certainly does happen. But the Justice Department's arm of statistics says that it is statistically untrackable. It's so low that it's almost impossible for them to have any evidence about what its prevalence is. So, does it happen? Sure. But does it happen without any other objective evidence? We have no evidence to support that. And one other thing from that is that the Justice Department's information on this also acknowledges that although that number must exist, that number has to be also going down because of the prevalence of cell phones.
And I have a huge problem with Elaine is basically saying, as if this trial was Amber told her side, Johnny told his side, and there was nothing else. And then that's how the jury made the decision. They're like, and they just don't believe her because Johnny said that she was a poo-poo head. And I'm like, okay. But what really happened is that the jury saw that not only did she submit the same photo multiple times under different dates for different events, they were also edited, which was shown in court.
Yep.
She edited the photos. She used the Photos software to change the lighting and the saturation and everything to boost up things. She's also accidentally said that she uses a bruise kit. She also hasn't cried a single time on stand, when she's trying to. 0 tears.
What do you
And
mean
the audio
Johnny is the
recordings-
audience is saying Johnny is on live somewhere? Where? You have to tell me where, people. You can't just say he's on live and
Go
not
find
tell
him.
me where.
Go find him.
I need to know where. So if the audience knows where, please do that. Minor, thanks for the super chat. As a full Mexican speakeroo, he says, I love all the epithets because they're dang funny. What's a speakeroo? I don't know what. Did I just say an epithet that I'm going to get in trouble for? Because that would make me. That's what the super chats are going to start trying to do to me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be careful if someone says their name. You never know what that.
What's a speaker? I don't know what a speaker
I don't know. I've not heard that term before. Let me Google it. Speakeroo. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. What could go
People
wrong
are
with
saying
that?
that Johnny's stream is fake, so let's not
Oh,
worry
it is?
about
Okay.
All right. So let's go back to Elaine. Let's hear what other lies come pouring out of her pie hole.
They don't have evidence. And basically what this jury said is unless you pull out your cell phone and you tape record your spouse beating you, you're out of luck.
She did pull out her cell phone. She
She
recorded
did.
hours and hours and hours of tape. I listened to that full 4-hour recording. There's a
Ugh.
recording out there of 4 hours of them fighting. I have listened to every recording that I could get my hands on. She did pull out her phone.
She was
and
trying
guess
very
what she-
hard.
Guess what she did not ever capture on any recording? Domestic violence. She
Correct.
did, however, capture herself saying, I'm not hitting you, I'm not punching you, I'm hitting you, and you're not punched, and don't be a baby. And she also said, yeah, so what, I throw pots and pans. She also admitted to starting physical fights. He said, we cannot have physical fights. You start physical fights. Aquaman. I heard all of that, but I didn't hear any punching. I didn't hear any hitting. All I heard was Johnny saying, I got to get the fuck away from you. Like, I have to leave. I can't be here. Intergalactic Pro, thanks for the super chat, says Stevie J. Raw has covered family law cases. You should ask him about them. Okay, will do. Sounds good. Thank you. Tina says this is on now, but where is it, Tina? If you guys have a link for me, please send it. If you're saying you want me to play something, oh, there it is. Tina gave me the link. Okay, hold on. I can't copy it. Tina, can you send me the link on Twitter, on the Twitters? At Megan Fox Writer. Can you send it there? Or I guess you're on Facebook, so I guess you could try sending it to my messenger and I'll try to find it. I might not be able to, but you can try. Send it to my messenger. All right, I guess there's something going on, so let me see. Johnny Depp live. No, I see there the court and Law and Crime has a. Do you mean his London concert, possibly? Because I can't play that. I'll get another copyright strike. Yes. Thank you for letting me know, Amanda. I know I have a copyright strike on day 2 of Verdict Watch. Unfortunately, I played some music that Johnny was playing, and Facebook took it down. So.
Really? For live music?
Yeah. Emily says, I'm totally wearing my Isn't It Happy Hour Any Hour shirt while I bartend tonight. Thanks, Megan. Cool. I love it. That's awesome. A great shirt to bartend in.
Where will you be bartending?
Don't dox her, Sean. Come on.
Some of you, I think what some of you do not understand is that there are live replays of the trial right now. The trial's over. There's nothing else happening in court. So if you're seeing a stream that has court going on, it's not live.
No, I saw I saw a comment saying that the jury is back, so we should probably.
Yeah, the jury is not back.
No, they're back.
They're gone.
I think court's back on. I think they're done with their lunch break. We should go back.
Court's over, guys. There's no more court. Do not get scammed. I'm looking.
We need a new trial. We need a new trial, Megan.
I know. Well, there is going to be a new trial. And I don't know if it's going to be televised yet. But the guy with his last name is Cruz. He was the shooter at Parkland. Oh, he is on.
Oh.
Hold on.
Live Johnny Depp YouTube channel.
This could be an old video, you guys.
Could be an old yeah, it could be an old one.
This might not. It's not live. I don't think it's live. Hold on, I'll show you.
Novelty of my name, it becomes
It is live. I don't know.
Oh. It says Amber Heard naked photos in description.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's not I don't know who did that. Hold on.
Continuous you again.
Photos. Don't click that, Megan. It's a phishing scam.
I'm not going to click it. I was just reading it to see whose was it.
Gone wrong, or where he may have done this or that. So
this is probably old.
Yeah, I feel far more comfortable hiding behind prosthetics or hiding behind.
He's talking about movies.
Than actually.
What does that say behind him?
RTVEM Plus
Festival
International Film
Sebastian.
Donostia.
Is that going on right now?
This is some kind of.
You get more comfortable in front of a camera.
It's old. This is old, you guys. You got punked. It's old. This is not real.
The San Sebastian Film Festival is in January to June 20th. It says.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So somebody's just punking you guys on YouTube to get views. He's got 35,000 people watching it right now, so it seems to be working.
So
that definitely is a good tactic.
I wonder how many people are clicking that link.
Dirk
It's a
Diggler,
scam channel.
Boomers.
If 15,000 people are watching that live and it says naked Amber Heard photos, you know
it's a
at
scam.
at least 500 people are clicking that link. At least.
It's a scam.
So.
Well, and you also know that 10,000 of those stream reviewers are not real.
True.
Really? What are they? They're porn bots.
They
Corn
probably
Bob?
paid
Yeah.
for some some number increasage. That's a word.
All right, let's go back to Elaine. Let's hear more of the lies spewing out of her mouth.
I think it was bigger than that because you have the evidence, as you say, but they did not believe her. Why do you think they did not believe her?
I think that
Because she's a lying harpy.
Johnny Depp. I think the celebrity status.
But she's a celebrity too. But she's but she.
All right, you guys discuss. I have to take this phone call. Hold on.
Okay, I found the footage of Johnny Depp at that film festival. That was last year.
That was last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Good work, Gadfly. Good sleuthing work. Oh man, yeah. Because he's a celebrity. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they've got their talking points, and they are so thin, and they know they're so thin. It didn't work with the jury, so why would it work with the general public now saying the exact same thing?
I don't know, and I don't understand. Like, what if the jury came back in favor of Amber Heard? Would you still think all these things? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense at all.
No. I guess it's just it's interesting watching how they've got this like script that they're using with this, like, believe all women. This is a setback for women. They're trying to make this into some cause in which it's not. This is about and they always do this. It's about an individual situation and whether something happened to this individual or didn't happen to this individual.
You know what? That's
It's very
exactly
simple.
why. That's
Yeah.
exactly why Johnny's lawyers said why they put that motion in after the case went to the jury, saying, "Hold it, wait a minute." They were improperly arguing to the jury that they need to send a message to all
Yes.
the other women. That's not how this works. You don't. This is about these individual people, and the jury has to make a decision about these facts presented to them. In this particular case, it is totally inappropriate to try to resolve a case in front of a jury to send a message to the rest of the world about anything. That's not.
Yeah, I was really scared when I was watching the Rittenhouse trial, thinking that that jury would be acting like that, trying to send that message politically.
Totally
And fortunately,
wrong.
they didn't. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we lucked out there.
Sean, you pulled up the ethical rules. What does it say?
I did. I pulled up. So I went to my website on ethicalkarma.com and I clicked on the ethical rules. And then I went into Virginia. And in the preamble of the rules of professional conduct for Virginia, fourth paragraph, it says that a lawyer should demonstrate respect for the legal system and for those who serve it, including judges, other lawyers, and public officials. So, it's right there that that's what she's supposed to be doing. She's supposed to be saying, she's supposed to be demonstrating respect for the legal system. And when she comes out and she says that, when she says that she's convinced that the jurors went and looked at social media, so they violated a court order.
With no evidence.
With
She
no
says that
evidence.
with no evidence.
Right. So she's impugning the work of the jury without any evidence. She's not demonstrating respect for the legal system.
Yeah, I think that someone should file a complaint against Elaine. Who can do that? Can anyone file a complaint?
I'll do it.
Yes.
I'll do it.
Wait,
online.
guys, is Elaine actually a Virginia lawyer, or did they?
Yes.
Did these lawyers?
No, I looked her up. She practices in Virginia, D.C., and Maryland.
Okay, so what about these other lawyers, Johnny's lawyers? Were they from Maryland, or did they come in from somewhere else and get permission?
They are also from they're Virginia lawyers as well.
Are they?
Yeah.
But you know what? To be honest, nobody should be filing bar complaints against Elaine that's not directly connected with this case.
Yeah.
Well, I think the public. I feel that the public has been offended by what she has done. I think the public has every right to file a complaint. Why is she doing
Change.org
this?
petition. Remove
Right.
Elaine from Aquaman 2.
I agree with you. But remember this, okay? Is that the Bar Association has the independent ability to enforce its own rules. And if I remember right, I think that's what they did with Rudy Giuliani. But in terms of, if Elaine suddenly gets a whole bunch of bar complaints filed against her by people who don't have anything to do with
They'll
this
just
case.
ignore it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're going to probably going to ignore it, but B, it's also going to give Elaine this argument that she's being targeted. If Johnny's attorneys feel strongly enough that what Elaine is doing is violating the ethical rules, one of them should really be the person who's filing the complaint.
Well, the
Not
truth is, lawyers have an ethical obligation to report other lawyers that they know are violating the rules of professional responsibility.
You know, that rule varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So in Washington, it's discretionary. In other jurisdictions, it's obligatory. So I don't know if that's the case in Virginia. It's typically RPC 8. I'll look.
Yeah,
Okay, so
check that out.
The chat has voted on YouTube. 77% of them do not believe that juror on TikTok is real. Only 20-some% believe that it could be real.
I believe, how can we possibly know is what I think.
I think that that's a bad. But I don't think that we should give them any credibility unless we know that they.
No, I agree.
Correct.
You don't give him any credibility until you can prove that he is who he says he is. At the same time, if it's a fake, it's a good fake, in my opinion, because there wasn't much there. There wasn't much there that was like unbelievable in any way. It seemed pretty reasonable to me. And people don't usually make it well.
Yeah.
So Stephanie,
did you share
you're
the
right.
TikTok link in the private chat so I could like go look at? See if he's selling anything. You know, I'm gonna do some more sleuthing.
Sure. Hold on. Where did I find that? I'll find it.
Stephanie, you're right. It's RPC 8.3A in Virginia. A lawyer having reliable information that another lawyer has committed a violation of the rules of professional conduct that raises a substantial question as to that lawyer's honesty, trustworthiness, fitness to practice law shall inform the appropriate professional authority. So, Virginia, well, you asked this question, so theoretically, you now have an obligation to do this.
I'm not a lawyer in Virginia. I do
That's
not
true.
practice in Virginia.
You practice in Maryland.
That's not what it says.
What does it? It says any lawyer, so that means
a lawyer.
Oh, so that means Sean, you have to do it too.
You know what, guys? Judges can refer lawyers to bar counsel for violations of the rules.
Yes,
that does happen. Judges sometimes do it when they see something so outrageous. They start the ball rolling.
But if I remember right, what happened with Giuliani was that Giuliani was out there making statements in the press that were provably false. So that violates RPC 3.3 and 8.1 and probably 4.1. And the New York State Bar, independently on their own authority, opened a complaint against him in an investigation and eventually interim suspended him because of that. So, that very well may be what's going on for Elaine right now. I mean, someone may have told her, you know what, you're out there speaking on the talking heads and you are, potentially, exposing yourself to this problem.
And Sean, let's just talk about strategy for a minute. If you had a case that was still going, still live, because you're going to appeal it, wouldn't you be very, very careful about what public statements you make?
How could she be talking about this when it could now be a reason in the appeal for Johnny to say this woman continues to do this even when she knows it's being appealed? Like what? I
know that lawyers speak to the press. Okay, that's part of it sometimes, especially if you have a client with a real public case going on, you sometimes have to speak to the press. Okay, fine. But you have to be sort of circumspect and careful about the way you speak to the press and about what you say. And I just think her whole tour yesterday was just a little bit reckless. I mean, it came off sort of frantic. I just don't think it was well thought out.
Well, that sounds exactly like her closing arguments. Frantic and
not
not well thought out.
Too.
Yeah.
That's ethical rule 3.6, trial publicity. But the first part of it is about criminal. But it seems like the second part is about
what does it say in civil cases about how lawyers should handle that stuff?
Well, a lawyer participating in investigation, prosecution, defense of a criminal matter that may be tried shall not make or participate in extrajudicial statement. Reasonable person or should know would likelihood interfering with the fairness of the trial by jury. So that's criminal. Let's see if there's another rule on that.
By the way, I am looking at Ted Rowland's Twitter.
It doesn't appear there's an answer to that, Stephanie.
Ted Rowland from Ted Court TV says, bailed. Elaine Bredehoft postponed her live interview with Chanley Court TV last minute. Hopefully she'll reschedule with Court TV.
Interesting.
Well, maybe
if I were Johnny's attorney, I would have sent her a cease and desist yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. She's out there like repeating all this defamatory stuff.
That was just
really true.
Proven in court to be false.
We just couldn't get our evidence in front of the court.
Yeah, let's continue listening to this because it gets worse.
But she's a celebrity too.
Right. But you have to remember, it's a tale of two trials. All the evidence came in the UK. Mr. Depp brought that one. The burden of proof was on the son in the UK because they had called him a wife beater and talked about the domestic violence. He had his opportunity to tell the truth then. And a 3-week trial, he lost. The judge.
By the way, the UK trial, you cannot compare the two because they were not the same litigants. Amber Heard was a witness in that trial, not a litigant.
Also,
he sued the son.
Not the same standard.
No.
Not the same law. It's not relevant.
It's not. It's not. And now she's going to talk about how it was so unfair that she wasn't allowed to tell the jury that Johnny Depp lost in the UK on a completely unrelated, different lawsuit.
Okay, wait. Can we talk about a rule of evidence? It's one of the first ones you learn. If something is more prejudicial than it is probative of a fact that has to be proven in a case, it is not allowed into evidence. Why? Because we don't want cases decided by prejudice. We don't want cases decided by that. So evidence has to be more probative than prejudicial to come in. And for her to put evidence in front of a jury that some judge in the UK decided on a different standard, a totally different standard, a completely different law, that it was substantially true that Johnny was a wife beater, that is so prejudicial and not probative of anything in the case in front of the Virginia.
That's right. It's not. And also she brings up this text message that wasn't allowed in court. And I don't know if it's in this interview or another one, but she brought up the text message that was sent from Johnny's assistant from Deuters to Amber that wasn't allowed in this trial. Now we've all seen this text because it's all over the internet. The text was Johnny apologizing, like Deuters saying that Johnny was so sorry when he told him that he kicked her on the plane. So Deuters tells Johnny, because Amber tells Deuters that Johnny kicked her on the plane. Deuters wasn't on the plane. Amber tells Deuters that Johnny kicked her on the plane. Then Deuters tells Johnny. Yeah. Then Deuters tells Johnny, you kicked her on the plane, she says. Okay. And he says, now remember, wait a minute, on the plane, he's almost passed out unconscious because he's detoxing, right? And he's in all that pain. So he has no idea what he did. He doesn't have any. So his responses to her gaslighting that he kicked her is, oh my God, I'm sorry if I did that. I'm sorry. And that's the evidence they wanted to bring in.
This is why we have the hearsay rules.
Yeah. And there was never an eyewitness, by the way. All those people on the plane with him, they all said that never happened. So the eyewitnesses said it didn't happen. The only person who said it happened was Amber, and she convinced Deuters that it kind of happened because he was asking Johnny about it, and they wanted to pin this whole case on that text.
Bring Deuters in.
I'm not sure why he wasn't called in as a witness. Does anybody know?
Because he wasn't going to corroborate her ridiculous story, perhaps?
Well, why didn't Johnny call him then? I know his wife was called
Actually,
in.
what would even have been the point of bringing Deuters in? All he could have said would have been that Amber told me, blah, blah, blah.
Right, so they wouldn't have been, that's not eyewitness.
Wait. The only person who could bring in a statement by Amber is the opposing party. You can bring in statements at party opponent admissions. Amber herself cannot bring in testimony that she previously told so-and-so such and such, because
Right.
that's an out-of-court statement offered for the truth. That's hearsay with no exception. Johnny could have brought it in, but why would he would have no reason to bring that in? So that evidence is properly excluded. Of
Yeah.
course that shouldn't have come in. That's ridiculous for her to be acting like, well, because some judge in the UK, well, I don't know what their evidence rules are there. That's not, we don't run our law by what some judge in the UK does. It's not relevant. We don't care what they
We
do.
don't care. We're not under the crown. We're not under their law.
Especially when it's different parties, different issues, different
law that applies.
different law. I mean, it's
different
I mean,
standard.
right. I mean, you guys know that I went and looked at that, just a few minutes last night. But I mean, they were deciding completely different things in the UK case. They were really deciding whether or not a media organization had enough evidence to meet a very low burden about publishing information about a public figure.
Which is not our standard. It's not the same law.
Right. And it wasn't that's especially not the standard of suing somebody for saying things about you that are provably false. Like,
exactly.
When my ex-wife called me a narcissistic sociopath or said that I was stalking her, or when Amber turns around and says that Johnny beat her. These things are provably, true or false. They're completely different standards. The UK case really has nothing to do with this. And so Elaine, by saying that it does, is really being very disingenuous. And
not only that, now she's impugning the integrity of the judge. She's
right.
I mean, which she's saying, oh, well, the judge really should have let it in. Really should have let us do this. Well, you know what, Elaine? That's why we have appeals courts. And you're welcome to take that up and see.
She shouldn't be taking this to the media. She should be taking it to the appellate court. If she really thinks that she got a raw deal, then she needs to go to not to the media, but to the appellate court, because all she's doing right now is banging the drum. And this is a nightmare. I want to remind everybody, hold on. I want to take a second here to remind everybody, if you just got here because the chat climbed up in numbers, please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Really helps me out a lot. And if you're on Facebook, like it and also share. And don't forget to visit the merch store. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you right now. There's so much great, a piece of history if you want in there. You want to get a piece of this trial. There it is. Objection hearsay. Men too comes in all kinds of mega pints, t-shirts, sweatshirts, wine coolers, mugs. You can pick that up. Also, super chats are open on YouTube. Please do send a super chat or a super sticker if you don't want a t-shirt. There are also happy hour, any hour t-shirts you can pick up in the merch store and make Americans friends again, because that's the most important thing. We've made so many new friends here, and I'm so happy to have you all. All right.
So this is Virginia Rule of Professional Conduct 4.1. It's only one sentence. In the course of truthfulness in statements to others, in the course of representing a client, a lawyer shall not knowingly make a false statement of fact or law. So, do you think she's making false statements or fact?
I do.
Or law?
I'm calling it the lying tour. This is the lying tour that she's on. Let's hear some more lies. Come on, Elaine. How many more false statements can you make of fact?
Found 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence. And that came up.
There she goes. 12 acts of violence, including sexual violence, she claims that the judge found. But that's not really what happened. The judge found that it was credible enough for the son to get away with it.
So-called substantially true, which is, again, not our standard. This is so smarmy. I don't like this at all.
Right,
okay,
and it's substantially true for the purposes of a news organization publishing an article about a public figure.
Right. It's not the
which
same
makes sense that they could say they just believed what Amber Heard said, and that made it substantially true for them.
I mean, look, Megan writes articles, right? So Megan, you're gonna write an article, all right? I'm gonna tell you whatever I'm gonna say, all right? You're gonna go, okay, great, that's thank you very much. Now I'm gonna go do some independent fact checking, right? You're going to make some phone calls. You're going to, reach out to the other side, see if they want to elicit a comment. You're going to try and find something independent that might corroborate what I'm saying. If you find all of that stuff, you've probably met your burden to be able to write your article, right?
Yeah.
Did I just basically sort of outline it?
Yep.
That's what the Sun was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not surprised that Johnny Depp didn't win the case in the Sun, because all they had to prove was that they believed Amber Heard when they wrote that. I mean, they didn't really have to prove anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not hard. Yeah.
It's kind of like our standard of actual malice for a public figure. You have to show that the person who said the defamatory thing said it with either reckless disregard for the truth, or they full on knew they were telling lies, which is what the jury found in this case regarding Amber.
Right. And I could see the judge being like, no, the Sun believed her. And they posted that.
Yeah. But in this case, we're talking about the person herself who made stories. It's and the jury said, nope, you are obviously telling lies.
Right. Because the person herself would know or not. She would know whether it's true or not.
Absolutely would know whether it was true or not. Exactly.
Okay. Guys, we've got also, I want to let you know, I've got 2 new articles up on PJ Media. Speaking of articles that I write on pjmedia.com, I have written 2 articles that I want you to go clickety click. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it clickety click. It makes me very happy when you do that. Right now, I've got one about Jonathan Turley, Stephanie's favorite law professor. He is impugning the ACLU. He has written an incredible op-ed about he says he calls the ACLU finally hit rock bottom involving itself in celebrity gossip. And he just rips them apart. And this is my analysis of his op-ed. And it's really interesting. And you should go check that out, because the ACLU is just crumbling before our eyes. And then if you are still confused about the split decision, I have written an article on the VIP side. So if you're not a member, you can sign up with my discount code FOX for a discount. It's called Explained: The Incomprehensible Jury Decision in Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard. And I have gone into, with legal experts, the explanation for this decision that you saw come down. So if you go clickety click, that helps me out a lot. And I appreciate it. You guys have done a great job helping me out with getting those numbers up on those articles, and share them on social media. If you like them, share them.
That's right. Am I supposed to do Pierre doing the button?
Yeah. Sure. Let's go back to Elaine and hear what else nonsense that she has to say.
About November 2, 2020. We weren't allowed to tell the jury that.
Well, it's a different system, and the judge, it wasn't a jury. It was a judge.
Thank you, CBS man.
Well,
Thank you for.
It's not really what you're saying is stupid. So let's continue.
Yeah, I liked it. He's like, well, it's a different system. Like, can we not talk about that?
The judge said it was substantially true, and that is significant, and I think surprised a lot of legal analysts. But in this case,
it surprised a lot of legal analysts, because they were like, "WTF is this judge doing?"
Yeah, it surprised them. It also surprises them when Elaine brings it up as if it's relevant at all.
I know.
Jury not only didn't believe Amber Heard, but in ruling that she acted with actual malice, that means she had the intent to cause harm, right? That's a pretty high standard.
What that means, CBS boy.
And it's pretty amazing, since the op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp. You have to.
She admitted it was about him.
Wait a
Can
minute.
we stop?
The op-ed never mentioned Johnny Depp. I didn't know this before. We need to get the jury back in. They've made a huge mistake. Yeah, we all know, Elaine. We still decided.
I could not believe she said that. I could not believe she said that. Sean and Megan, I sent you a New York Post article yesterday where they were going on about how Amber said that Johnny was the only one who thought the op-ed was about Johnny. No, actually, when she got back on the stand, foolishly, which her lawyers should have prevented her from doing, Camille got her to admit that it was about Johnny, and I did it because I knew that everyone would come out of the woodwork to support him, and that's the kind of power he has.
She admitted it on the stand.
That's exactly what I was speaking to in the article. There it is right there, her admission, her own client's admission under oath. So for her to get on TV and say, the op-ed didn't even mention Johnny. Elaine, where have you been?
Right.
This is now
Was she not in court? Was she not?
Yeah,
in
right. Was she sleeping?
Your
I mean, I don't
client
get it.
admitted under oath that it was about Johnny and admitted that she did it because of the imbalance of power. That all this power
And,
that he
and
had.
also, Stephanie, her opening statement to the court when she first took the stand, they said, "Why are you here today?" And she said, "I'm being sued because of an article I published about my ex-husband."
Her opening.
She literally said it like 3 times on the stand. So for her to say it never mentioned him, that is not the argument they went with. They did not go with it's not about him. They went with it's about him, but it's all true.
You know, one thing we might want to talk about briefly here is that even if she appeals, right, that it's highly unlikely that she would get a complete reversal and remand.
Mhm.
And it's far more likely that she won't win anything at all. But if she wins anything, she might get something partial might get sent back, which really means that a lot of the issues that the jury determined, the issues of fact that the jury determined, won't be touched. That they will remain. And those are issues of fact that now exist. The jury has determined these things, right? And that is the conclusive answer. It's done.
It is very, very hard on appeal. It is very hard. The standard of reversing what a trial court judge has done is very hard.
Hey, get this. DUI guy says it's more likely that on appeal they will throw out the judgment for her.
I saw that.
Saying that the jury got it wrong. They're confused and she shouldn't have gotten jack. Because they confused Mr. Waldman with Mr. Depp. I don't even think they established.
Well, no, because
I think
the
they
legal
confused. I think they
legal
confused
argument
malice with what they would. I mean, I can't believe they did it just based on the fact that Adam Waldman obviously believed these things.
Right. That's the
that's
only
what I would
mistake.
say.
That's the mistake. But the question is, is it the fact that no reasonable jury under these facts could conclude that he did that with actual malice? In other words, with that he knew it was false and he did it anyway. And I think it's very hard to say no reasonable jury could find that. I mean, because he's known as an attack dog, right? That's what they got out there. It is possible that he I suppose didn't really believe the stuff about they got together with the lawyer and the PR person and then they messed up the place themselves and tried to make it look like it was worse than it was for the purpose of doing this hoax.
Yeah.
It's possible that was reckless disregard for the truth.
But what Stephanie's talking about here is agency law, and we know that there was a motion about agency law, and agency law is relatively, I mean, although it can be kind of intuitive, it can be relatively complex and nuanced.
This is definitely weird, and defamation by agent is super weird. This is
super weird.
It's really weird. And frankly, I don't think they spent any time convincing the jury that he was the agent of Johnny Depp. They spent no time proving that. So I don't know if I were on that jury, I would say they didn't convince me of that at all. For as I'm looking at it, this is Adam Waldman's own statements to the press, and he has a right to freedom of speech to say what he wants. And if she thought it was defamatory, she should have sued him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was
exactly.
Sorry, who said... Yeah.
And there are times. So an attorney has a qualified limited immunity, and this is part of what I sued my ex-wife's attorney for defamation. But that qualified limited immunity ends at the courthouse door and ends inside the pleadings. So when Waldman goes in front of a camera and he's standing there and speaking and saying these things that she thinks is defamatory, she should have sued him. But to try and say that Johnny is responsible for Waldman's statements because Johnny authorized those statements, that's a really nuanced argument.
It is. Was there
it's entirely possible the Court of Appeals will toss that.
Was there any evidence that
they never submitted any evidence that he was acting as an agent?
Well, so that's my question. Was there any evidence that Johnny was directing?
No, they got nothing out of him. Remember, I accept the instruction. I accept the instruction. Attorney-client privilege. They were never going to get to that. There was no evidence that he was directed to do it at all. And in fact, it could be said, and I think it is the case, Adam Waldman has been a personal friend of Johnny's not just a lawyer, but a friend. And he was a witness to these things. And as an officer of the court, he felt compelled to take that information to the police and ask for an investigation.
Well,
and
to me,
also,
that's the best evidence that he believed it.
I know.
Because-
But now Nick Rekieta says, okay, but that's also the best evidence that he did this to get that police report and then leak it to the press. Maybe. But if it came out that he did that on purpose, that he submitted false evidence to police in order to just leak a police report to the press,
That's a crime.
that's a crime. He would lose his law license. I don't think that's what he did. I think that he believed I think he still believes every word of it. I think I believe him. I believe it. I think his statements were all true. The only thing I couldn't verify is what Amber talked to her agent and the lawyer about.
That,
and
I think
by
that's
the way,
where he went wrong.
Get this. The agent, she avoided deposition. She avoided it successfully. She was never deposed. So they never were able to question the agent about what she knew or didn't know or when she knew it.
Are
So
you talking about Amber's PR person?
Sorry, the PR. Amber's
How
PR
did
person.
she avoid the deposition?
I don't know, but Andrea said that on the law stream, on the Rekieta stream. Andrea was saying that she's been following this since the UK, and she avoided being deposed successfully until the trial began.
What were you starting to say about Professor Turley? Are you talking about the articles he wrote about this?
Yeah, I wrote an article on PJ Media analyzing his op-ed on it, and it's a good article. I just said that he's your favorite law professor.
He was. I didn't have him for torts or anything or for any of my classes per se, but I had him for this thing he does called the Project for Older Prisoners, which was a really interesting law school clinic sort of thing where you try to help, because all these federal prisons in the country, most of them are under order to move people out because they're overcrowded. And so he came up with an idea that was popular with bipartisan support of finding prisoners who are the oldest and most infirm and least likely to harm anybody when they get out, and try to find an alternative situation for them. And it was a great. Now I ended up interviewing somebody that I recommended. Absolutely not. That guy should never get out. He terrified me when I was there in my in-person interview, but he does have a lot of people that he has managed to get out who really shouldn't have been in prison for as long as they were.
Thank you for the super chat, Michaela. She says, Megan, the judge in the UK's son worked for the Sun. I haven't been able to verify that.
Is that true?
I've heard that rumor, but I have not been able to verify it because it doesn't appear to be reported by any source that I can say is legitimate. So that's something that I need to continue looking for because I have not been able to verify it.
Obviously, if that is true, that judge never should have heard that case. He should have been
the chat thinks it's true, but you guys, I can't just say yes, that's true without knowing it's true, and I have to find out who is his son, where does he work for the Sun, if that's the truth. It's true.
Yeah, ask the TikTok juror; he'll tell you.
Megan's a real journalist, people. She does real verification of things. I know that's not heard of in today's society, but
I tried to.
That's why we follow her. Yes.
Well, I mean, and guys, don't take this as gospel. Now the chat's blowing up. Oh my God.
I know.
Really
oh my God, he did.
Wait,
we
don't
know.
We don't know. And I've actually tried to verify it and I have not been able to. Now, if Colonel Kurtz did a video on it over a year ago, as Melanie says, I will go find that and watch it because I do like her and she seems to verify her sources. So I will see. But I haven't personally verified it, so I can't say that, yes, it's true. But, you know, Tug says it's true. Well, if Tug says it's true.
Well, if Tug says it's true,
it's true.
Well, if Tug says it's true. I mean, they talked about the Umbrella Man how many times? In court.
That was so funny.
Too many for their case, but great for Tug though.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to Elaine. It's going to take us 2 hours to get through this 6-minute video.
To remember that what they learned from the UK case is to demonize Amber, which is what they did, and to try to suppress as much of the evidence that came in the UK.
Wow.
What they learned from the UK case was to demonize Amber. Are you
She demonizes herself. The woman is a demon. I can see her wings flapping from here.
I don't know what she's talking about. I think this is just absolutely. This is just. I couldn't.
This is hilarious. It's just like this is the biggest cope I've ever heard on national TV. So
All
good
right,
work.
Justin, thanks for the super chat. UK judge's wife also did charity work with the Sun's chief editor's wife, the same editor who wrote the op-ed. And also, this is the judge's wife's friend hosted a dinner party with Amber that she attended. And that's true. I saw that in the paper. She did attend.
Trial?
I don't know what the timeline was on that. I think it was after the trial, but she was linked to a very close friend of the judge. There was a lot of stuff going on in the UK with that Judge Nichols that was, I would say, conflict of interest.
What the refusal rules are. See, this is why we don't care what they do in other jurisdictions, because
right.
I don't know what their rules are. In my world, if a judge's son was closely connected to one of the litigants, I mean, first of all, you must reveal that to the parties. Secondly, somebody obviously should make a motion to recuse you, which in my view, if I'm the judge on a case like that, I'm out. I'm not going to, I mean, a judge can say, well, I think I can remain impartial. It's attenuated enough that but.
Okay, look, here's an article that says the Sun libel trials judge's son works for Rupert Murdoch. Now, this is in a article in a publication I've never heard of. It's a celebrity thing called Pop Topic. It's Australian, so maybe it's like Australian TMZ. I don't know. But it says Judge Andrew Nichols' son works for Talk Radio, a sister company of The Sun owned by Rupert Murdoch. So it's not, he doesn't technically work for The Sun, but for a sister company. Is that close enough to ask the judge to step down from a conflict of interest?
Always ask the judge to step down from a conflict of interest, whether the judge is going to find it bad enough, significant enough. It should be revealed. It should be discussed. It should be out there so everybody knows.
Well, his son has the same employer that Dan Wooten has, Rupert Murdoch. So they both work for companies run by Rupert Murdoch. And Dan Wooten was the guy who wrote the article in The Sun that got sued.
So I guess I would take the position that I want to stay as far away from the appearance of impropriety as possible, especially in a high profile case. That said, an organization like Rupert Murdoch, whatever, all the different news organizations that he owns, that encompasses a whole lot of people, right?
It sure does.
So that can get crazy, but I guess it depends on how sensitive, how closely the trial's being watched, how much in the public eye the whole thing is, how careful you want to be to avoid even the appearance of impropriety so that no one can complain later that your verdict was because of this connection. You know what I mean?
Liz E., she says there's a Newsweek article with a flow chart of all the judges' connections to Amber and the Sun. Liz, if you can send me that link on Twitter,
It's
I
in
would
that
like
same
to see
article you're on right now, Megan, if you just scroll down.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
So, Code of Judicial Conduct Rule 2.11, and I know this.
Ready with all the rules.
I know this because it's an issue in my tort case against my ex-wife and her unethical lawyer. Says that a judge has a duty to disclose any relationships that they have within 3 degrees. So, if you've got 3 degrees, a judge must disclose it.
Oh, that's only 2 degrees. So
and depending upon the nature of the relationship, the judge might have an obligation to recuse themselves. And going along with that is a particular legal doctrine called the appearance of fairness doctrine. And the appearance of fairness doctrine says that a judge has a responsibility not only to be fair and impartial, but to appear fair and impartial to a reasonably informed member of the public.
All right,
so if
check
a judge
this out.
is engaging in any behavior or has relationships with defendant entities, right, that creates the appearance in the public's eye that they might not be fair and impartial, the judge has an obligation to recuse themselves from the case.
All right, so check this out. Amber Heard, you see her here. She went to this private dinner party, and it says during the trial. There were guests there, Baroness Helena Kennedy, and she is connected to, oh my gosh, all these lawyers, to Dan Wooten. And it looks like Kathy Leach is friends with Camilla Palmer, who's married to the judge. And
Wait,
so
Philip Palmer at the dinner party?
I don't know. It doesn't say. Looks like no, she wasn't. The guests were the Baroness Helena Kennedy and Jen Robinson. And Jen is a personal friend of Kathy's, who used to be married to Jeffrey Robertson, who wrote the book about media law, and so did Judge Nichols.
Kathy hosted the party, I think is what it's saying.
Kathy hosted the party. The judge wrote a book with Jen Robinson's former husband, or no, with Kathy Leeds' former husband.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that interesting?
Don't be partying with these people during the trial. That's just no. It doesn't look good at all.
And then Amber was also with Jen Robinson, the guy, the one who's connected to the partner of the judge who wrote the book, and she was with her on some guest appearance on International Women's Day in 2019, which took place at Dougherty St. Chambers. I don't know what the
which is where the judge works, is what they're saying.
Which is where he works. Okay.
Yeah, he says he's employed by St. Chambers. I don't know this UK lingo, making up words.
Either. They're just making up words. Yeah, we don't.
They should really think of like their own language one day or something.
This part I knew about. I knew it. They should really make up their own language. Is that what you said?
We speak American here, okay?
So this is worrisome to me. I certainly don't like it. This doesn't seem to me like this judge is that impartial.
I think this is honestly like I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. This is like a lot of degrees of separation. This person did something with this person. You did something with this person. You know, I don't know.
It's a little conspiratorial. That's
really because
Kathy.
First of all, Kathy Lead here. Her ex-husband, wrote a book with the judge, and Amber's at her house. Yeah, no.
But Johnny's ex-wife is Amber Heard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Doesn't implicate him.
Ex-husband. I mean,
she does.
And we're talking about the UK case.
Yeah, the UK case.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a big deal that the judge's son worked at a radio station that's also owned by Rupert Murdoch. I don't think that really matters.
I think it matters that it appears to look bad, and I think
that
appearance matters.
But the judge might disclose it.
The judge should probably disclose it if he even like knew that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he knew. Oh well, though, how does he not know his kid works for a company owned by Rupert Murdoch? You know.
Yeah, but you see, the issue is if the judge comes out and on the record and says, for everyone's knowledge, right, my son works for a company that is owned
by the same parent company that owns this defendant's.
Right. I don't discuss these cases with my son, and I'm not going to discuss anything with that. If the parties have an objection to me serving as judge, state it now on the record, in which case I'll recuse myself. And if the parties say, no, Your Honor, we don't have any objection, problem solved.
Or maybe not, I'll recuse myself, but I'll hear you anyway. I'll listen to your argument and consider.
Nora, thanks for the super chat. She says, does UK courts not think there was a conflict of interest with that judge? Probably not. I guess they didn't. America is still the best country in regards to our legal processes and system. Well, it's the only country I have experience with. And I've done some investigating into other countries' legal systems, including the UK and Australia. And I can definitely say that ours is better than theirs in what I've seen. Okay.
That is for sure.
You something about the legal system as far as participating in it when people with your sassy plants, what's her name? Situation.
Right. Yes. The legal system here has its problems, but it also is the freest in the world that I know of. And especially when you talk about cameras in courtrooms, allowing cameras in courtrooms, that's something that does not happen in other places in the world.
And that's something Elaine is ticked about. Well,
I know.
I think that there are some really justifiable and severe criticisms to make of the U.S. legal system, and I think there are places in which you can definitely make an argument that particularly in some doctrinal areas, that there are other countries that have created much better systems.
Yeah, I just think that with the UK thing, someone could definitely tell me all the information about the judge and stuff, and I'd be like, I don't feel like that matters that much. And then they could also say that. But even I don't even think what am I trying to say? The conclusion of that case matters that much. I can totally see how someone would be like, we're not going to hold the son responsible for writing
for
an
something
article.
Amber said.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
also,
understand that.
and now Johnny gets to hold her responsible for it because she goes and she breaks her NDA and she writes about him in the Washington Post in Virginia jurisdiction. Well, that was the dumbest thing she could have possibly done, because then he can really hold the person who's really responsible.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
the lawsuit against the son was kind of ill-conceived in the first place, and he should have been told this is a no-win case. But maybe if he hadn't done it, she wouldn't have been cheeky enough to go and do what she did. She felt very safe after she thought she won the UK case.
Exactly.
Well,
Without
when did the UK case get resolved? I thought she printed the Washington Post thing before
after
the resolution of it.
after yes, she
When
felt.
when was the UK case resolved?
I don't know. I don't have the dates.
Look that up. I'm gonna look it up.
I can look it up relatively
You
easily.
guys,
It's
I
probably
can't
still
do
like-
everything here.
probably still
Somebody, you guys have fingers, you have Google. All right, I'm going back to Elaine because it's taken us 2 hours to get through 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
And did
Thank
not
God.
come in the United States. But the other problem is we had cameras in the courtroom. So
See,
here
here
we
she
had,
goes.
not only did we have a group of Depp fans that were there every day, 100 were allowed in. They lined up at 1
It's
o'clock in
Megan
the morning
Fox's
for their
fault. We
wristbands.
lost.
They literally are blaming YouTubers and social media social media people for live streaming this to their audiences. And look, I got to tell you, these cameras in the courtroom are my favorite thing ever. I love open courtrooms. There is absolutely, I will get rowdy about this, chat. You know I'm about to get rowdy. When you don't let transparency in the American judicial system, when you start to create star chambers like they did in the UK, when you let these things happen behind closed doors, you are asking for corruption and problems and the violation of due process and civil rights. And hell no, we won't go. I want cameras and I want judges to wear body cams. That's what I want. I want that stuff to be foyable. I want to see every record. I want the press to be in there. I want everything live streamed on YouTube. And for Elaine to say that that's the problem, the cameras in the courtroom, it is a problem for her because she has a liar client.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Pause. The op-ed was 2018. The resolution of Johnny Depp's UK case was November 2nd, 2020. So she published that thing before he
The
lost.
resolution, but not before
the resolution.
but not before he filed the suit.
Yeah, but before anybody knew who was going to win, she published that thing in the Washington Post.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, she's
interesting.
dumb. She's still dumb. She's still dumb.
No, I think she's smart. I think she's awesome. I think she should replace Jason Momoa in Aquaman 3.
Do you guys think she's ever going to work again in Hollywood? Is
Yeah.
anyone?
Yeah,
Is
she'll work
anyone
at
gonna hire her?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, she'll have
Hell
no
yeah.
problem.
Who do you think
problem.
cleans the stars
said
in
that?
Hollywood Boulevard?
Wait, I just don't know, guys. I mean, first of all, for Hollywood as a woman, she's kind of getting up to the years where they start ignoring women. You know
I
that.
think they'll hire her just to virtue signal the whole Me Too, believe women
virtue
thing. I think
signal.
people
Is
will do
this
it
real?
as
Is
a
Court
political
TV, is Law and Crime really going to interview Judy, the court stenographer? Is that true? We might have
Huh.
to tune in for
Did
that.
is that photo real of her at Johnny Depp's party?
I don't think
Yeah,
that wasn't Johnny's party. That was
Right.
the legal team's after part. Where remember those pictures I showed you of Camille partying and eating and
Yeah.
Ben Chu in the shorts and t-shirt? That was their party at the law firm.
But either way, is that a real picture of Johnny there
Yes.
with Judy dancing or whatever?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think so. It looked real. I don't know. They didn't look to be dancing. I thought they
Yeah,
were
no,
just
I think
talking
Amber's
to-
going to have like one of the biggest OnlyFans of all time. I think
Oh,
that's possibly what's going to happen. I
Amber
could
will
see her
take
doing lots of
OnlyFans by
things.
storm.
Yeah.
That's gross, and I hope that doesn't happen. I want her to be on reality TV. I want to see Amber Heard on Big Brother.
No, poor Amber. I really want her to get help. She needs to get help.
But she's not going to, so we
She's
might
not
as well
going
get
to.
some entertainment out of it. What
Yeah.
I can't read what that says. Get help,
Yeah,
Amber.
It's
No, she's not
sad.
going to.
It's sad. She needs help. But you know what? Here's an interesting thing that her lawyers, if they were super smart, maybe could have come up with when they realized the whole thing was going down the toilet, and maybe could have saved the actual malice part. If they had just realized, okay,
we're going down in flames. They're not believing her. We need to switch gears and embrace the Dr. Muffin's diagnoses of histrionic personality disorder and borderline personality disorder. And we need to embrace that. And we need to tell the jury, look, you cannot find that she acted with actual malice, because people with these disorders genuinely believe their own lies. So in order to find that she acted with actual malice, you'd have to find that she lied or acted in reckless disregard of the truth, but she couldn't have, because she's mentally ill and she actually
Right.
believes all this stuff. I mean, that would have been a plot twist, but maybe it would have saved her from having to pay this much money, because maybe somebody on the jury would have been like, well, yeah, I don't think she could act with actual malice because she's nuts.
She's not going
All
to
right,
pay any
listen.
of the money, pretty much. She doesn't have the money to pay it.
I think Stephanie is absolutely right on. I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
I think she's absolutely right on. I mean, if she had done that, if they had just gone down that road and basically said, you know, Amber's got some problems.
Yeah.
Oh, I said that from the beginning, but there was no way she was ever going to do that. I said this country would forgive you. They would. If you would just come out and say, I'm sick and I need help. I did this thing and it was bad and I need to go get help. I'm going to check into rehab and get some mental health. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check this out, chat. I'd still believe her. How do you like that?
Who said that?
I'd still forgive her, is what I meant to say.
You don't mean
not
believe her. You mean
I believe her. I might not believe that she even wants to get help, but I would still forgive her. I would forgive
And
Elaine too.
is that because she has pretty girl privilege, or just because? Like, if she looked like a troll and was doing all of this, would you feel that way, or is this because?
Oh,
she's
absolutely
beautiful?
not. I only like her because she's beautiful. No, of course. Yeah,
See?
I don't care what she looks like.
No, see, he's a forgiver. That's why.
I also said I'd forgive Elaine. Are we saying Elaine has pretty girl privilege?
I'm
Making
not
sure.
going to say anything about that.
I asked. That's all I did.
Well, she got a makeover. Look at her. Her hair looks better. Somebody did something good to her hair. But anyway, let's continue this.
But we had everything on camera, and we had tremendous social media that was very, very, very much against Amber.
It was pointed out that was the first time that
very, 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 very demonizing. And then Oprah's best friend goes on and says this was the first time that well, listen to her.
The victim of sexual abuse had to testify on live television.
A victim? No, an alleged victim. And by the way, I don't think it was the first time that someone testified on.
Yeah, I'm not sure she can
television
possibly know that that's true, because lots of different jurisdictions have cameras allowed in courtrooms.
That's right. So
how
don't say
can
it was the
she
first
say
time
that?
ever. She can't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first time ever. And by the way, I actually think, and I wrote this in my article on pjmedia.com about a defense of cameras in courtrooms and how the media is now going to come after these our ability to look at justice. And I'm telling you right now, even in criminal cases where people have to testify about these horrific things, you can shield them with an actual shield from the camera. You can shield the victim where you can just hear the testimony and not see them. You can cordon them off.
You can fuzz out their face
so that they can see the jury, or the cameras can be instructed to look at the seal on the ceiling instead of at the witness. But there is no excuse not to have justice broadcast in America. This is America.
You should see some tomfoolery that goes on in some cases, and if they were all televised, people might not be able to get away with certain things.
Hold on, you guys. I think Judy's on. Hold on. I'm watching Law and Crime to see if Judy's gonna be on, and I think they're coming.
Really on?
I think they're gonna do it right now.
Oh, jeez.
Let's hear.
To the viewer, and Antoinette, I understand that you have an exclusive interview with us and some information about Church and Judge Annie Ascarati called a rock star. That's
Stephanie, somebody's feedback is going. Mute. Everybody mute.
Judy, take it away, Antoinette.
Hey, Linda, and hi, Catherine. Yeah, we spoke with Judy Bellinger. She is a court reporter employed by a company called Planet Depots. And I think it's important that we bring this up because a lot of people think that Judy was employed by the Fairfax County courts, and that's not true. In a civil case, apparently, both sides can decide to split the cost of a court reporter, and that's what happened in this case. They wanted daily transcripts. So Planet Depots is the company that was contracted to do this, and Judy has been a court reporter, a court stenographer since 1984. She's been doing this a really long time. So the company asked her to handle this case because it was such a huge case, and they knew she had the experience to handle it. And I could tell you a lot more about this, but I won't. We're going to have more of this interview, I believe, coming up on Monday. But I spoke with Judy for an extended period of time.
So they're not going to show us
and
Judy
she
now?
told me about
We have
just
to
the
wait till
experience of
Monday?
trial.
Tease.
But before we spoke, there was a video that started going viral of Judy Bellinger with Johnny Depp. And this had been posted on Instagram by somebody who took this video last Friday night. And people have been posting all over social media, on Reddit, on a number of forums that Judy was out partying with Johnny Depp and that she's biased and that she did something wrong. And in talking with Judy, it couldn't be further from the truth. And in this video that is circulating online, it's a black and white video that somebody took at a hotel last Friday night in like a gathering of sorts. There was this event going on with Johnny Depp, his legal team, things like that. This video is going around and people are saying that she did something inappropriate. You see the video there popping up on the screen. Johnny Depp had given her a hug. That's a friend of Johnny Depp's, a longtime friend who gave her a hug as well. And Judy and I talked about this because this is something that's been coming up online. I'm going to let you listen to Judy explain how this whole encounter came about. This was obviously not in the courtroom. This took place at an event. So let's listen to Judy explain what happened and how she ended up in the same room, not only with Johnny Depp, but his legal team and some of his friends.
Okay, play the video.
So after closing arguments, I finally decided I wanted to get out of the courthouse and just take a breather. We were supposed to go until about 5:30, maybe 6 if the jury wanted to. And so I thought, I want to maybe try to go to Indiana this weekend. Let me run down the street and get my oil changed, and I'll come back and go back up. The courthouse closes at a certain time, and I didn't make it back in time. And Judge Ascarati just wanted to close the record. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I'm stuck outside. I'm getting my oil changed. And she goes, oh, it's okay. Well, she didn't say it. I was getting messages. And I said, okay, just don't worry. My recording's going. It's just closing the record. I'll, transcribe it when I get back. But then I needed my equipment. So Mr. Chu and it was Rebecca. I think they were the ones that were there, and they were kind enough to pack up my computer for me in my backpack, because that's all I needed. I leave my machine there because it's just quicker to come in and just set up my computer and not have to set everything up every day all over. So they were kind enough. They said, okay, if you tell us how to, disconnect everything, we'll bring it to you, because we have an office right around the corner from where we are now, and this is where they were staying. And I said, hey, I have an office on Greensboro. I can get you there and get my equipment, and I can get the transcript out this weekend. So they're like, okay. And then I guess Johnny had told them he would really like to meet the court reporter. Which
we demand a new trial.
It's like shocking to me. I'm like, I'm just the court reporter. And so when they brought me my equipment, well, they were going to bring it, and there was no one at our Greensboro office, and you can't get in if there's no one there. So
and it's Memorial Day weekend.
Right. So
it's a holiday weekend.
Yes. So they just brought it back to the hotel, and they said, hey, do you mind if we just take it to the hotel and you can pick it up here? And actually, it took me a minute. I didn't know how to get up here. I didn't know you had to come in the downstairs door and then go to another floor and then get to another floor.
It's a little confusing.
It is very confusing. And so they had my computer and stuff with them, and they were in the hospitality room, and Johnny was in there. And so I had to go in there and get my equipment, and I saw him, and they're like, he really wants to meet you. And I was in there for probably less than 10 minutes. And he just hugged me and thanked me again. And I had a couple other people there, and I got my equipment, and I came out and I left and went home.
That's really funny. because a lot of people are suggesting you're
What
just
a
out
demon.
at the after party hanging out,
That's
you
so
know, with Johnny
bullshit.
Depp, and
No.
that's not what happened.
Not at all. I still had a 40. Well,
Doesn't
from
she
here,
just type
I
what
had
they
about
said
a
anyway?
50-minute drive
Yes,
home.
it
So,
Yeah,
wouldn't
who cares?
matter.
no.
It doesn't matter if she was the biggest Johnny Depp or biggest
And
Amber Heard
Levy,
fan.
let me
Just
throw
type
it back
words
to you, but
down.
let me just.
That's enough of that. I don't want to.
Yeah, what a
listen to
waste
those
of
people
time,
talk. What a
Long
waste
That
of-
is a huge waste. Good try, Long Con. Good try.
Nice try to
You
make
got
a
us to click.
yeah, make a good try making a mountain out of a molehill. Nobody cares
Yeah.
about. No one is out there saying Judy did something wrong. They're making that up.
Yeah, Elaine
There-
doesn't even think that. No one thinks that.
No, and anyway, even if she were the biggest Johnny Depp fan in the world, what are we suggesting, that she's typing stuff into the record that wasn't there?
Yeah, it's all
Come
filmed
on.
also, so it's like it wouldn't be that hard to prove her wrong. You're muted, Stephanie.
You're muted, Boomer. Hey, Boomer,
Oh,
you're
sorry,
muted.
sorry. If she improperly was transcribing the record, everyone would know because everyone watched it.
I know, it's stupid.
It's
dumb.
totally stupid. All right. we're going-
Boo! Long crime, boo! Get off the camera. Just film stuff.
Yeah.
Boo! We're going back to Elaine.
And I
We're 3 minutes into this.
lost that
Yes.
battle. It should not have happened.
So I am a former NFL
I love
player.
this guy.
And after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up and point to the other side. Oftentimes,
Yes.
I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror. What mistakes did I
Yes.
make as a player? What mistakes did our coaching staff make? And then how
Get
can
her.
we improve from there? Do you feel like you guys made any mistakes along the way? Do you feel like Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand? Because you're saying it's the celebrity, it's Johnny, it's the people who support him. What about you and your team?
Well,
Man, roasted like an
Wow.
almond.
Damn.
Oh, my Lord.
And that he did it so tactfully too.
I
It just
know.
like wow,
so
that is
politically, just
brilliant.
like, hey, I have failed before in my life. Have you ever
Yup.
failed before?
Y'all done fucked up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
And the next way he said, you are absolutely the reason you lost, right?
He did that so well.
Look at her face,
Chef's kiss.
guys.
Chef's kiss.
Her face too. And when she says, what she says next is, that's a great question. And by the way, anyone who knows anything about people speaking in public, when they say that's a great question, or I'm glad you asked me that, or those types of sentences, that's killing time. Stalling.
It's
She doesn't-
also
and
it's
she
also
doesn't
followed
answer
by,
the question.
Yeah, it's also followed by never answering the question.
Yeah, here we go.
And that's an excellent question. And to say, and you know, Amber even said on the stand, I am not perfect. I am.
He didn't ask you about Amber.
He didn't ask you about that.
We're talking about you, Elaine.
No,
We're not
what
just-
mistakes did you make?
As her legal team, what mistakes did you make? Starting with, why the hell did you let her take the stand for
They
the
failed
second
her.
time?
They
And by the
failed
way,
her.
when she says Amber's even said she's not a saint, well, yes, she said that. But all of her testimony, including her illicit drug taking, she couched as, I only take laffy drugs. We have cuddle puddles. When
Just laffy
Johnny
drugs,
drinks,
full of love.
when Johnny drinks and takes drugs, he's a raging monster. But when I drink and take drugs, I laugh and I cuddle with my friends. What? No one believes this. No one believes that.
Human
I don't
being.
punch, I
These
hit.
people were giving her death threats. They threatened to microwave her baby.
What does
No, I
that have to
didn't.
do with
Shut
what
up.
mistakes you made, Elaine?
My God.
They didn't,
Okay,
and they
first
didn't,
of all,
and they
bring
didn't
the
present a
receipts.
whiff of evidence for that.
No.
Yeah, bring the receipts or it didn't happen.
Also, I don't even care if you're gonna pull up some like random like Twitter post that someone said, "Oh, I wish
Twitter
someone would
troll.
microwave." Yeah, Elaine? This is you called things the Twitters.
This is not
You
relevant.
don't understand.
She's obviously not answering the question at all.
Shaughnessy,
No, not at all. Not at all.
Shaughnessy says, Megan, they have been reporting Judy to her supervisors at the association for being biased. She's in jeopardy of losing her job. If that is true, then everybody needs to call that association and tell them to stop that. That's crazy. I don't think court reporters have to be unbiased. That doesn't even make any
Who
sense.
cares? Yeah, that's so dumb.
She's not a decision maker. Nothing she
No.
does has anything to do with the outcome of the case. It's ridiculous.
So they might be reporting her, but I don't think she's in danger of losing her job over it. No.
Yeah, I'm sure Amber fans are trying to report. They're trying to do anything they can to change it. And listen, let me be super devil's advocate right now. That's not a word either, but I'm making them up, just like the UK. if someone truly believes that Amber Heard was abused by Johnny Depp and the whole world has been duped by his charm, then I understand their anger. But I ask from the same people that they understand from us that we are seeing Johnny Depp, who was abused by Amber, and her spreading a vicious lie about him to ruin his life. Can we at least just like
I know. Why do
accept
they
that two
keep
people
saying
can-
that why do they keep saying that we're supporting an abuser? It's like that's not how we see it at all.
Right.
Yeah, and that we're like intentionally lying because we
Yeah.
want Amber's baby
Right.
to die. Like, what are you talking about?
In a microwave of all
Yeah.
things. I don't know.
This is so gross that she brought up that particular thing. I mean, what is that? It's just talk about just salacious and just ridiculous and over the top. Here she goes.
Well, that's
Now,
just what
is
she
there?
does.
We talked about ethics potential violations with stuff like this. Like, can she get disbarred over something like this? How serious
Yes.
is it when they? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Rudy Giuliani went in front of live video cameras and he, said over and over again that Trump won the election and that the that whole lie. He presented
Well,
that
Trump
lie
did win the election, but okay.
he presented that lie to the
Can
public.
I say that on here?
Okay.
Yes,
and
I think so.
the New York State Bar Association came along and said that is demonstrably untrue. That violates RPC 3.3 and some other RPCs, probably RPC 4.1, truthfulness to others, RPC 8.1, misconduct, and they suspended him. They opened a bar investigation against him, and they interim suspended him.
Sean, that could also be chalked up though as a political hit.
Politics.
I happen to know. I happen
just
to
don't
know.
know.
Wait a minute. If that's the case, if a lawyer can be disbarred or suspended for saying that their candidate actually won, then all of Al Gore's lawyers should also have been suspended. That is just your normal.
Stacey Abrams' lawyer.
That is your normal shit that politicians do when elections don't go their way. It's all about hanging chads or anything else. That is a usual thing to do. I think that hit on him by the Bar Association was completely political, and for that very reason, she will not get a hit by the Bar Association.
Yeah, I don't think the Bar Association is going to care what she's out there saying on the media.
They
That's
let
that's
them
the
do.
problem.
The Bar Association, you know darn well, Sean, the Bar Association hardly ever goes after any lawyers unless there's some political reason that they can make political points.
Or they're stealing money from clients. That's a huge no-no. You cannot be stealing money from clients. Or they're such a bad drug addict or alcoholic that their whole practice is falling apart and people's cases are being lost. That's another one. Or
I will send you the opinion because I've actually got a copy of it.
Well, I'm sure they did it. I'm just saying that the
she's
reason
saying
they
was
did it,
political.
I think that's a political hit job.
Because
Saying that
they didn't
my
do it to
candidate
Al Gore's
won
lawyers.
that election legitimately and you stole it, that's an opinion. And for him to say it, all of Al Gore's lawyers said the exact same thing when
And
he
Stacey
lost
Abrams.
the election. And
But-
Stacey Abrams said the exact same thing, and her lawyers said the same thing. So it's just political. It's a political.
But
hit.
regardless of the reason why the Bar Association did that, does that not make it like precedent for them to be able to do it to
They
Elaine?
can do whatever they want.
Your question, John, is, as I understand it, is can the Bar Association take independent action against Elaine because she's out there saying things that are not true?
They
And
can,
the
but they
answer to
won't.
that question is yes.
But
they
won't.
can. But will they? Probably
No,
not.
they will not.
I don't know.
She is
They
subject
are
to the
more
bar.
inclined to act
She is-
on high-profile cases than not.
She is subject to the bar in D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. All three of those places are run by people who support the Me Too movement.
Not
And they are-
Virginia. Not anymore.
Well, but still, there's a pretty big faction in Virginia. Virginia is a split state because there's a lot of DCers in Virginia. So I do not believe that we'll see what the Bar Association does, but I don't believe they will go after her because they are more of a political organization, in my opinion, than they are about keeping lawyers honest.
I know what we can do. We can start a change.org petition. That will solve everything.
That'll change everything. All right, going back to Elaine again. We're going to go on 3 hours to get through 6 minutes.
This is the kind of social media she was getting. So are any of us perfect? No. Is there something else we feel we should have done? Yes, absolutely. I redo my closings 100 times afterwards.
You should have redone that one for sure.
Yeah, try 101.
Especially this part when she was trying to whip up the jury with her arms. This part,
See,
Elaine,
that's her mistake. She just said she redoes her closings after. She should redo them before.
Gotta practice, my friend. Gotta practice.
Yeah, after she does it, she goes, "Oh wow, I should not have done that." That's interesting. Look, I think
part of.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that Rottenborn's closing was better if you're looking at just the words.
It was
I
better.
think Elaine's was better if you were looking at a person. And hers was her Hail Mary throw to try to win this case and just go, I'm going to start saying everything. Do we want $100 million? I don't know. Who cares? And then she just like starts doing.
That was the craziest moment.
It was entertaining. I was engaged the whole way through her speaking, and Rottenborn, I wanted to go to sleep. So, maybe it worked for her before. She's been doing this for a long
was
time.
insane that she said that in her closing argument. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, it was
so
crazy.
what you're telling the jury is you didn't really mean it when you made your demand for $100 million. You didn't think you had a real claim to $100 million. Well, that's another professional responsibility problem. You're not supposed to be going after people for things that you know you have no basis to get.
People are sending me memes. Amber Heard's refreshments at the trial after party.
Those are pretty good. I want a cupcake.
Being a good lawyer, a good trial lawyer is there's always something. But I think that there were a lot of influences here that were beyond our control.
It's not
and
your
I
fault.
think the social
You're
media,
Like your client. Like your client.
No,
who
you
was
lost
clearly
because-
beyond your control.
So you know what? Remember when Sean and Stephanie, and I think you were also saying it, Megan, is that people choose lawyers that are like them?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the same. She's going, well, you see, we didn't lose because we're bad. We lost because
It's everybody else's fault.
everyone else was
They are
tricked.
just like her. Yeah, they're just like her. Tracy says, thanks for the super sticker, by the way. Court TV just put out a video stating Elaine canceled their interview she had planned with them. Ha ha.
Good. As they should.
Good. As they should. And yeah. No, but Elaine is so much like Amber. And I will say, I defended Elaine here multiple times during this trial. I said she's doing the best she can. She was handed a shit case with shit evidence, and she's doing the best she can. And now I do not feel sorry for this woman. She is clearly as crazy as Amber Heard, repeating Amber's lies without a thought in the world. Hating it.
Or she's just trying to convince Amber to appeal so she can get a little bit more money.
Guys,
Probably that.
one of the lawyers in my office after this came out said, if she were smart, Elaine would have hit the microphone after that verdict with a big smile on her face and would have said, this is very good news that at least the jury understood that Mr. Waldman defamed Amber Heard and awarded her $2 million for that defamation, as they should have. She should have tried to claim some kind of victory, something, and then say, and we thank the jury for their service and thank the judge, and then that's it. Be quiet.
And the worst part is she said that after the trial, Stephanie. She said, I want to thank the jury and blah, blah, blah. And then she turns around, goes to the media and calls the jury corrupt.
I think she's playing this all wrong. They are doubling down on stupid. This thing didn't work for you in front of the jury or in front of the world, but you're going to keep it up. Why are you doing this? It's not working. It's not working.
Well, like her client, right? She has a limited ability to sort of see beyond their own perspective, right?
Maybe Dr. Muffins needs to do an assessment.
I would like a court-ordered psychological evaluation of Elaine Bredehoft, please. Can we get that going?
It was like a Roman Colosseum.
Oh, here we go.
Is the best way to describe the atmosphere here.
Good.
And I have to believe that the jury, even though they're told not to go and look at anything, they have weekends, they have families, they have
they were not
media.
And so this is where she's about to impugn the jury.
Yeah.
They were not sequestered.
And the 10-day period we had, how could they not have been influenced?
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, got huge views.
Stephanie, I think it's your microphone. I'm getting feedback and I cannot take it. Do you have headphones?
Just turn it off.
All right, mute when you're not talking, because
Is it me?
otherwise it comes through. It's not you, John. It's
Okay.
you have headphones. Anybody with headphones, that's not happening. But I think it's Stephanie's phone because I'm hearing the stream back through her phone and it's driving me crazy. I love you. Get some headphones.
Defamation. Defamation, Stephanie.
But yeah, so she's impugning the jury here. She's saying that they did not turn off their social media. She has no evidence of that. She presents no evidence. But another thing she said that really bothered me is she compared it to the Roman Colosseum. Let me remind the audience that in the Colosseum, there were actual lions tearing apart actual people and crowds cheering. And that, yes, is exactly what you would have if you do not have a justice system. The mob is brutal. You don't want mob justice. There's a reason we have a justice system with rules and evidence and all this stuff, because it assuages the mob. You must keep the mob happy. And the way you do that is to provide some kind of justice so that we believe, the mob out here believes, that people are facing a consequence for their crimes. She should thank God that we have the justice system we have, or Amber Heard absolutely would be stoned in the middle of some kind of theater right now, and everyone would be cheering it on, because that's what happens when the mob is in charge. You hurt a kid, you find a rope, you find a tree, you do. Capital punishment would be through the roof if there were no judicial system. So her saying that this was like a Roman Colosseum, I'm sorry, Elaine, it's the opposite of the Roman Colosseum. We are laughing and jeering at the judicial system, at her being exposed by our judicial system. That is so different than tearing her apart limb from limb, which is what the Roman Colosseum was. Your thoughts?
I agree with everything that you said, but you put a Roman Colosseum in a movie and I'm there. And those things are cool.
Yeah, Gladiator, great movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Great movie.
yeah. Or a
Stephanie,
video game.
you may unmute yourself to speak.
I think that she is using an outrageous hyperbole that is ridiculous, because you pointed out exactly why. In the Roman Colosseum, people were killed for sport in front of a huge crowd. This is not that. Number one.
It is that. And I say we've always enjoyed it. And we
have
still
always,
do.
humanity has enjoyed it. Amoral Fat says, can we bring back the mob? The mob sounds based. Stephanie, mute your microphone when you're not talking.
I think Elaine's right in a way. Obviously, we're not literally killing people, but I think she's right in a way where it's
in
like,
a metaphorical way.
yeah,
but
I think she's right that one of those two people, based on how the trial was going to go, from how it started to how it was going to go, one of them two were going to walk out way worse than how they walked in, for sure. In the public eye, monetarily, and any other case, one of them was going to lose out in this scenario.
But it's far different than being murdered by animals.
Yeah, it's less cool than that. I agree with you. But I'm saying it still is kind of like it.
Kind of, but I think it's insulting to the victims of the Colosseum to say that this is anything like that, because
okay, well, I'm not too concerned about the victims of the Colosseum at this
well,
moment
I
in
am.
time.
Many of them were Christians who were torn apart by lions, and that's our historical record. And frankly, it does concern me that people do love the Colosseum. They do, and we have to be careful we don't go back to that type of justice. And that's why our justice system has to be beyond reproach, and it has to be transparent, and it has to be on camera. Because if the mob ever gets the idea that the justice system is not doing what it's supposed to do, the mob will come back. No
Well,
doubt about it.
The justice system fails in a lot of ways. We know it's not perfect, no question about that. But I don't understand her suggestion that it somehow would be better if the cameras had not been allowed into the courtroom. We don't do justice in a secret way here. That's not, that part of our system is that the courts must be open to the public. They must be open. And, you know, some courts take the view that, okay, they have to be open because my gallery is open and whoever can fit in the gallery of the public, including the press, is welcome to come in. But for reasons of decorum or whatever else, I don't want cameras in the courtroom. Okay, that's one thing, I guess. But I don't, in a case where there's tremendous public interest and you can't fit all the people who are interested in this into the courtroom, I don't see a reason to say you shouldn't allow cameras.
No, it's 2022. When you
Right.
say
Why
something
not?
is public, that means you have to make it public. And in 2022, that means televising it or streaming it on YouTube. No one watches television. Let's be honest. No one even knows what a television is these days. Or if anybody's broadcasting on it, I'm not sure. Seems like everyone's streaming or on YouTube. But I definitely think, Connie says, headphones for Stephanie for Christmas present. Hint, hint. Yes.
It's not really a hint when you say it literally.
Oh man. All right, let's see if we can finish this.
It just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides. And I think
Disagree, disavow. I do not believe it was tawdry and salacious on both sides. Salacious thing that Johnny Depp revealed besides the poop in the bed. That's the only one I can think of. Anybody else?
Well, what she's talking about is you know, all of the facts that came out, all of the text messages, all the other facts. And what she's really missing the point here is that, you know, all of this stuff came out after they were, you know, divorced, right? And all of these things happened inside of the context of their marriage, and they thought that a lot of these things were private and going to stay private. And Johnny even tried to keep it private. So she's missing the point there. And it also seems pretty clear that she didn't spend 6 weeks watching this trial. Right?
Well, and that's
You know?
the point.
None of these people did.
You just said something really important here, and that is that Johnny tried to keep all of this private. Amber is the one who called TMZ and said, hey, I'm going to be coming out of the courthouse with a bruise on my right cheek. Make sure you get the cameras there ready. I'll pause so you can get the photo. She started the PR war, and she doesn't like reaping the whirlwind.
You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind.
She started this whole public mess.
From my favorite book in this case so far, Splitting, right? They usually deny responsibility for any of the previously noted behavior. So any of their behaviors that they engage in, right? You know, mood swings, impulsive behavior, right? You know, their fear of abandonment, that doing things, you know, specifically to harm. They then just deny responsibility for any of those things. It's always a merry-go-round of magical circular thinking that comes back to their target. It's always Johnny's fault. It's never Amber. And Elaine is in many respects just reflecting that same storyline.
Yeah.
Well, no, and now it's not just Johnny's fault. Now they're hating on everybody in the world who wanted to watch this and have anything to say about it.
And someone commented earlier that if they would have won, they would have said that the cameras were great. If it would have gone the other way, they would have been like, oh, just like what Johnny's team is saying, that the cameras were a good thing because everyone was able to see the truth. And Elaine would have said that if they won.
I've had enough of Elaine. I want to show you guys an article that I was going to write, and this guy beat me to. It's on Substack, Politique Republic. This is a great article. I'll drop the link in the chat, and then I'm probably going to do my own version of it on PJ Media because I have been meaning to do this article for a while now, and I haven't. Imagine if cameras weren't in the courtroom. Here's what we would have been subjected to by the mainstream media. Now look at this article. After witnessing the media's coverage of the Johnny Depp defamation trial, 56 of Americans do not trust the mainstream media to tell them the truth. The biggest loser of the trial wasn't Amber Heard, but the mainstream media. Now what Elaine wants and what these
Disagree.
people want, that's funny, is for us to only get the information they filter through their little minions in the press, in the mainstream press, who go into a courtroom, fill up the seats, and they report. They don't sit there all day though, because they have a lot to do. They're in there for like an hour, and these are the headlines that they give us. Look at the headlines they gave us. I'm reading this here. What will it take for Hollywood to drop famous, dangerous men? That was in the Washington Post. Hollywood wrote, I was petrified of the monster Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. Legal documents shed new light on Depp abuse accounts. This is what speaking out about Johnny Depp cost Amber Heard. People magazine said, more allegations from Amber Heard, claims Johnny Depp abused her for 4 years, uses drugs, and assaulted her on her birthday. Vox News, Amber Heard did what abuse victims are supposed to do. People still didn't believe her. Those are the kinds of articles that you would have been subjected to without our coverage. And the only way we could have done this coverage on and all the law tubers and all the other streamers on YouTube is if there were cameras in the courtroom.
I mean, this is
So
like
if
so
all-
wrong. I can't believe that Vox would say that she did everything an abuse victim is supposed to do. Like what? Doctor pictures?
Look at what
Fake evidence?
Look what NPR
Like,
did.
what are you talking about?
Look what NPR did. They put up the doctored photos and they said the jury saw pictures of Amber Heard's swollen face after a fight with Johnny Depp.
I mean, this is like, I literally feel like someone showing like a picture of like
swollen.
an orange and they're saying like, so how does this apple look to you?
Yeah, that's exactly what they
Bro,
are
it's an
doing.
orange.
Look at
It's
this.
insane.
Look at this headline, you guys. Look at this. Where do you see swelling in this picture? But NPR, the National Public Radio, we are paying for this with our tax dollars, is trying to tell you that you see a swollen face here.
Look at the picture on the right. That's the original photo. The picture on the left is her doctored photo where she increased saturation, tried to make her cheeks look more pink.
But do either one of them look swollen?
No, they look like her
Absolutely
cheekbones she
not.
has
I have to
currently
take
right
a
now.
phone call. You guys talk about this. I have to take a phone call.
They're
Hold on.
gaslighting us. The media is gaslighting us.
Yep,
Well, you
we've
know, but
seen
the-
we've
hang
seen
on a
it.
second.
We've
Wait,
seen the Photoshop. They showed the Photoshop.
They're showing it now in the article.
Yeah.
It's pro Amber somehow.
But hang on a second. What you're really seeing here is you're really seeing a reflection of a sociocultural viewpoint and value, in that there's an enormous and it's backed up by a $60 to $70 billion domestic violence divorce industry. So you're seeing a reflection of this value that says that, you know, that cannot wrap their heads around the idea that men can ever be victims of domestic violence, that an abuser can ever be, you know, a good-looking, height, weight, proportionate woman, even though that there are lots of examples of you know, having that exact thing happen. You know, John Mast gets murdered in a parking lot, you know, in Idaho. Right here in Washington State, we had a female psychologist murder herself and murder her children and kill herself. You know, example after example after example of women who do horrible and abusive things, and yet people still can't wrap their heads around the possibility that a woman can be an abuser.
Isn't that weird? I just think that's so weird. Maybe because I've been a lawyer for so long and I've seen so much, and that to me that's just, it's preposterous.
It's not weird when you think about the fact that, you know, the divorce DV industry is $60 to $70 billion a year just in that little segment, and then there's an enormous other industries that are attached to that sort of ride along with it. There's just a
Take this
shitload of
super
money
chat
being
question.
made.
Michaela Jennings asked, Megan, why do you think that there are not more men's organizations speaking up for men's rights and the abuse that happens to them? It's getting lost. Thank you for the $5. We appreciate that. The reason why is most men's organizations devoted towards masculinity are towards that like sort of like manly culture or whatever. And it's definitely not manly culture to admit that you're a victim of abuse by a woman. I mean, that's embarrassing. And so
Yeah.
men's groups, men's rights activists, like really would downplay that to a huge extent and actually not admit it's happening. So it's really for a man who is getting abused, you're actually in the worst catch-22. A woman, you get praised for it. You're so brave. Oh, me too. Yes. Men have no recourse. They have nobody clapping for them. In fact, they look like weak pansies when it happens. It's really a terrible thing.
You can look it up.
Sucks.
You can look up on I think it was on Maury or something. It was one of those like just lame talk shows or whatever. And there was a guy on there who was talking about his wife like throwing plates at him, and she was saying, "Yeah, I do throw plates at him," and the whole crowd was laughing.
Yeah.
They're like, "Get over it, dude. Like you can
Get over
overpower
it."
her so it doesn't count."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, I have recordings of my ex-wife doing abusive things to me. I have witness statements of my ex-wife doing abusive things, and the evidence, left on my body, like when she kicked me in the middle of my chest and I went tumbling down the stairs. And when I presented that evidence as we're going through the divorce, it just routinely just got ignored.
Wow.
It's really terrible.
It's and it's disgusting. As a matter of fact, all of those things got turned around and used against me. The double standard at work in the domestic violence industry is appalling. And everyone's out there. There's a lot of people out there that are saying that Amber Heard has done a lot of damage to women. I'm going to flip that on its head right now. And I'm going to say that Amber Heard actually did a great service for women. And the reason why she did a great service for women is because every woman out there in the chat, go ahead and, chime in on this. Every woman out there has a man in their life that they love. Their father, their brother, their husband, their boyfriend, their nephew, somebody, that they love. And if they get sucked up in the world of false allegations and false bullshit, or just even having their life run through a microscope and put under a microscope with the sorts of horrible trauma inducing crap that Amber unleashed on Johnny, every woman out there is going to want to make sure that that their loved man, all right, is going to be treated fairly and equally in the system. And Amber Heard, by exposing that she's a lying sack of shit that has been willing to lie about her ex-husband in the most vile possible way to harm him through the legal system. All right, get help, Amber. All right.
I come back to Sean screaming, "Vile piece of shit!" Hilarious.
She has done an enormous service.
That's what we're talking about.
Every single woman who loves a man and doesn't want to see him railroaded out of town, on a rail.
Well, I'll say someone in the comments said that I have so many male friends who have been abused by women. I mean, I don't think I know a single guy who hasn't been like at least hit by a woman at some point. I think that happens. Sometimes it's less severe than
I've
others.
never hit anybody. I've never hit anyone.
I'm glad for that, Megan.
Yeah, and it's part of good.
Let's read the super chat. Hold on. My cat's name is Karen. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Elaine has to cling on to something or her career is done. Either way, she's done, so she may as well go out infamous with AH. Yeah, I mean, this is a PR campaign to try to drum up her business. Clearly, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah. It's part of good man culture. You don't, when your wife or girlfriend, hits you, you don't go running around and saying, that's domestic violence. And part of the reason for that is not just the shame and all of that aspect attached to it, but also because it's an insult to women who actually do get the shit kicked out of them.
It is.
And,
Totally. Michaela says, my point is
value needs to change. But, we need to acknowledge that it exists.
It does. Thanks for the super chat, Michaela. My point is, don't you think it would be perfect timing to come forward? You mean for real victims? Yeah, I actually think that real victims of domestic violence are not going to be harmed by this in any like terrible way. I think the people that this harms are the people who lie about domestic violence. I don't think it's going to harm women who do not, who are telling the truth.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to at all. I think if anything, people will be looking. I mean, it at least has the word around domestic violence is being spoken about even more now.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. And,
yeah.
and so many women have now been able to speak up and say, hey, this is, or men, this is what actual domestic violence looks like. That's a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
That's something we should be talking about and supporting one another with. And again, in a therapeutic sense, you should always believe when someone comes to you and tells you that they're being abused. In a therapeutic sense, that's yes, always. Now, then, if you ask me, though, to go after them and write an article about them or expose them, well, I'm going to need to see evidence. And that's when the evidence comes in. But in a therapeutic sense, you always believe someone
Oh, yeah.
and says that they've been harmed or hurt in some way.
Yeah. Whenever people say like you have to
Super sticker King Rain.
Yeah, whenever people say like you have to, look at the evidence, that's not just if someone's telling you. That's like if someone's trying to get somebody else convicted for that crime, then
Right,
you need evidence.
or harm someone's career, then
Right.
I need to
Yeah.
see evidence. I'm not going to be asking you for evidence if you come to me and say I'm being abused. I'm going to put my arm around you and I'm going to try and get you help and I'm going to find you a safe place and I'm going to believe you immediately.
Right. Yeah, not if like you go into a women's shelter and you're like I was abused and they go, "Hold on.
Hold up,
evidence first,
hold up
please."
now. Hand over your
No.
no, that's not how that
But
works.
I'll tell you what's insulting though. When Rottenborn goes up on the doing his closing arguments and he says that it's abuse right there for Johnny to say a bad joke to his friend.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's abuse. That's insulting the people who have actually had horrible sexual violence against them.
Words
and you're
are
considering
not
it the same?
violence. Words are not violence. Words are not violence.
No.
Stop.
And I'm so happy that the most of the world, other than the media that's trying to like say that this isn't the case, most of the world agreed that we finally actually don't care what people say to their friends.
Yeah, this was a good moment.
It's okay.
This was a good moment, actually. And they were trying to make a big deal out of that text, like it was so awful, but it's a good moment. Look at this headline on Rolling Stone, by the way, by my very favorite, and I'm being sarcastic when I say that, E.J. Dixon, who writes at the Rolling Stone. I cannot stand her. Look at this title: Men Always Win. Survivors Sickened by the Amber Heard Verdict. I'll just say this. That is not my experience with the survivors who have emailed me. They are sickened by Amber Heard. They are not sickened by Johnny Depp winning. No.
Yes. And also
Foreign spammers are back.
Yeah, they are back. But also,
Yeah, they've been
if
big
you're
this
a-
week.
if you're an abuse victim or not, we are all people and we might have different perspectives, and it doesn't necessarily mean that because one thinks one way and others think the other way that makes that true.
Look at these other headlines, you guys. This just makes me so sick. Amber Heard, Johnny Depp's trial survivors sickened by verdict. The Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial was an orgy of misogyny.
An orgy of misogyny.
Oh, jeez. You're trying too hard, Guardian. You're drunk. Go home.
They were hoping that someone would accidentally click on that, looking for something else.
The Mary Sue says this is a devastating and dangerous day for survivors of domestic abuse. Keep in mind, these are the only news stories you would have heard if we were not allowed in that courtroom. This is it. This is all you would have heard. Entertainment and News says the verdict in Johnny Depp v. Amber Heard no longer matters. Abuse survivors face the harshest sentence. Teen Vogue, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict doesn't matter after the internet made a spectacle of abuse. What?
Oh, what does Salon say? I'm sure they have great opinions about that.
As Johnny Depp wins his defamation suit, believe all women loses. And
Of course.
And it
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah, it should if you're talking about court, you dum-dum.
Think says how the Johnny Depp Amber Heard jury got it wrong twice. Oh my God. Independent says Amber Heard didn't ask for any of this, but the verdict will change her life. She didn't?
She didn't?
She didn't ask for this. She wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post literally asking for this.
Well, I guess she actually is on audio recording asking for this. Saying, tell them, Johnny. Tell them that I, a man, am a victim of domestic abuse and see who believes you. So she did ask for that.
Johnny. Tell a jury. She asked for it. You're absolutely correct. Why BuzzFeed, why the Depp v. Heard trial was so exhausting to watch. I don't feel exhausted. I feel exhilarated.
Yeah, you should have drank more coffee, BuzzFeed.
You
Dum-dum.
You should have been on YouTube. You should have been on YouTube because we're all over here getting high on it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I haven't slept in 6 weeks. This is better than cocaine.
I mean, she literally brought it on herself. I mean, she literally, all of the things that she's complaining about, all of that stuff would have never seen the light of day if she hadn't, done this crap.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, opinion in CNN, the verdict is much bigger than Depp or Heard. And look at this, though. Politique Republic conducted a paid randomized poll of more than 1,000 Americans on Facebook asking about their trust and confidence in newspapers, television, and radio news, reporting similar to a Gallup poll from 2021. 56% of respondents indicated they either had not very much or none at all. This is why, and they wonder why people are turning to Rekieta Law, why they're turning to YouTube, while they're turning to channels like who's the Emily Baker, because those people are just showing you what's going on and they're asking your opinion. We're saying to you, watch this court stream with us and let's all talk about it. We'll go to the chat, see what you think. What do we all agree? And we just all happen to agree. This bitch is cray-cray and she is lying.
Yeah.
But the media doesn't allow that. They don't allow the interactiveness of this particular thing. They don't want you to do that.
They never want that. It's always been like this for everything. It's you must listen to our opinion, you plebeians. And and the people have had enough of it. I mean, we've been in rebellion against this kind of thing since 2016 is really when it started. And it's going really poorly for the media. And I couldn't be sadder about it. I'm trying to shed a tear like Amber right now.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I think it's great because regardless of like political backgrounds and anything like that, people agree. I said this before, people agree on two things: that Amber Heard is a psycho and that the mainstream media sucks. And we all agree.
Yeah. And you know what's great about it, though, is that the media for a very long time has been trying to shut out the people. So, for instance, they shut their comment sections off. If you notice, you cannot go on a Washington Post article anymore and see comments. You cannot go on a New York Times article and see comments. They used to a lot until they started getting wrecked and ratioed. Then they turned it off. But by the way, pjmedia.com, comments open all day long. Here on this YouTube channel, I want your comments. I love your comments. I make polls to see what you think, and then I report that, because that's how you get to the bottom of things. You figure out how do people feel, but the newspapers don't want to know how you feel. They want to shut you out. They don't want to hear your criticism or anything. And if you want to criticize me, I'm open to it. Go for it. I get criticized all day long. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I want to remind people where that trend started was Netflix. If you guys remember Netflix before you canceled it because of this stupid cuties thing, Netflix used to be a channel that people watched on streaming services. It's tanked now, but they used to have a rating system on all of their stuff, and then Amy Schumer did a comedy special, and it wasn't funny, and so all the users put one star of that. And Netflix removed that whole rating system. That's where the whole spiral of not allowing comments started. So
it actually started in the news, though, a lot earlier than that. News articles took the comments off because they claimed that they could be held responsible for the things that the people in the comments said, which is total garbage.
No way that's true. Although YouTube, it was true for a moment.
It was.
I think they went back on it, but there was a moment in YouTube where they were saying that you are responsible for the comments on your videos.
That's insane.
Very insane.
How could I keep up with all these comments? You had to set them all. You have to accept them before they're posted. That's what people started doing. Crazy. I would never be able to do that.
That's a disaster.
Speaking of YouTube, I leave every comment on there as long as it's not like spam to a website or something. I leave every other comment on there. People can say like, "Oh, this video sucks. You should be put in a microwave or whatever." That's fine.
I'm going to do that on every one of your videos now. So
that's totally fine.
Thanks
Say
for
what
this.
you wish.
My cat's name is Karen. It's how the Nazis started. It's true. Censorship always leads to bad things. Don't do it. Don't censor people. There's just no point. The truth is going to get out there one way or another. What?
I was going to say we should all join the anti-fascist movements. And then we'll be fine.
Then we'll be fine.
Yes.
We're anti-fascist.
Yeah. We'll
Shaughnessy says, Megan, will you please address the audio from Australia and why it didn't make it to court? they must have lost a motion in limine on that one. I can't tell you why exactly. There had to be some reason. It was the audio of Dr. Kipper and Amber where she's apologizing for cutting off Johnny's finger. They argued that, and I guess they decided it was more prejudicial than not, and so it didn't make it in. I don't know, but we've all heard it, and we all know the truth.
This is why Elaine's thing is dumb, because it's like both sides weren't allowed to bring in certain
right.
evidence.
That's
and it was
right.
damning for each other. So, I mean, what, or, I mean, I don't know what Amber's evidence was. She, for some reason, hasn't shared that portion of it, I guess. But she should, if she thinks it's super useful.
On Ricada's stream the other night when I was on with the panel, one of the lawyers who had been paying attention to the UK case said she didn't know what Elaine's talking about because all the evidence that didn't make it into this trial from the UK was in Johnny's favor. That's what she said. She said it was almost all in Johnny's favor. So she's just making up crap, according to people who followed the UK case, that the evidence was actually more in his favor. But they're just lying. It's the tour, the media tour of lies.
Well, did you notice she's basically out there saying that, we lost a motion in limine. That's what she's talking about. It's a motion to limit the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that we had all of this evidence that, came in, that could have come in and would have made the difference. But, all right, so that's her argument. But did you notice that now that the trial's over, she didn't release all of that evidence?
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, why don't you just put it out there if it's so helpful to you? You could turn the tides on the whole internet. People would be like, "Holy crap, man, that's crazy! They didn't allow that in."
Look at all of this horrible evidence about all of the horrible things that Johnny, did. I mean,
that's because the evidence is already out there, Sean. All of the evidence she claims are the mountains of evidence. It's all over YouTube. We've already seen it. I saw the text message between Duders and Amber Heard about the kicking. That is totally not relevant to anything, and there were no eyewitnesses, so that doesn't hold up.
And that's probably why it was excluded.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why it was excluded.
Stuff right there. I mean, I got the rules of evidence right here. I could tell you exactly why it was. I could tell you which rule of evidence it was. We can read it into the rule. Like that's why it was excluded.
Yeah,
I don't even know what she's talking about too.
Oh, the medical records. Thank you for reminding me, Jody.
Oh yeah.
So she brings up the fact that the medical records were not allowed in. But then right after saying medical records, she says there are therapy notes and things. Oh no. So she didn't go to a medical doctor. She went to another shrink and told her lies to someone else. That is not evidence of medical evidence. That's not medical evidence. That's just Amber telling her stories again to someone.
Yeah. Right. And important there, you made this point too, is that two things on that. No, so number one is it's an exception to the hearsay rule that the things that you say for the purpose of medical treatment can be admitted for the truth of the matter asserted within them. So there's an exception for the hearsay rule that would otherwise allow that to come in. But you made the point, and you are absolutely right, that when she says these things to a therapist, the therapist has an ethical obligation to believe her in order to help her recover from these issues.
A fact finder. That's not a fact.
Right.
She's not going to investigate the claims. The self-reporting nonsense is just nothing. It's
right. And I'll tell you, as a practicing attorney, and I've admitted therapy records into cases that I've never seen, and I've never admitted a therapist's record into a case for the purpose of proving the truth of what it was the person was saying to the therapist. I've admitted them for the purpose of showing the person has PTSD because they got hit by a truck while riding their bicycle, or the person is dealing with the trauma of what happened to them and they're still dealing with it and they're telling it to the therapist. But I've never so the idea that she's going to go to the therapist and say, I was abused, all right, and I don't have any evidence of it, and then it's going to come in, when the therapist has an obligation to believe her that she was telling the truth to the therapist, that's a problem, and that ran right up against ER 403, and that's why it was not admitted.
It shouldn't have been admitted. And there was one medical record I haven't seen that she kept trying to bring up. It was the ENT report that she claims some ENT doctor said she had scar tissue in her nose. Also, again, people who take a lot of cocaine also get scar tissue in their noses.
Oh, no way.
and all kinds of problems with their ENT, everything up in this area. You can get serious damage from cocaine use. So that did not get admitted into court, but she kept trying to say it on the stand, and there was objection after objection after objection. I actually would like to see that record. So why doesn't she put it out there? How come Amber didn't put it up on Instagram and say, here's the medical record that wasn't my ENT's record that I went to years after, or however long after this supposed broken nose? Where are the plastic surgery reports? Where are the records from all the plastic surgery she had to have done from all these awful beatings that she got? My cat's name is Karen. Thanks for the super sticker. They should have drilled her harder on the essay with the broken bottle. That was just insane. Yeah, well, what else could you? And I don't know if drilled her harder was a poor choice of words or the correct choice of words, but yeah, that was hard to understand how that testimony even happened.
Yeah, well, she said it was a Maker's Mark bottle. I'm holding a wine bottle right here, right? And it's 3 inches in diameter. I mean, come on.
The Maker's Mark thing was like square, had this huge square thing, and she kept talking about her pubic bone. And
well, Sean, if you've been on the internet long enough, there are incredible human feats you can see. I don't recommend Googling that, though.
Do not listen to him.
Sorry.
I did visit Tijuana once.
Oh no.
Oh, here we go. Anne Marie, the trial is over, guys. Can we talk about something else?
Yes, we can.
We could, but I don't think that's
what is there to talk about, though?
Have you guys seen the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial? It has been.
It's amazing.
So great.
I mean, just discovered it, Gadfly.
Yeah, let's talk about it from start to finish. Can you bring up day one, Megan?
Let's go. Court TV, seriously, or Law and Crime is literally re-streaming the trial from beginning to end right now. That's what they're doing. Or they were.
Well, Momfly said that it was on Netflix.
No, come on. What?
They said that they were like posting it like the day after it happened. They were posting the whole day on Netflix. I don't know if that's true.
You want to look at the TikToks? Okay, we can go look at the TikToks. We can do that.
Oh no.
I'm gonna have to go make my kid lunch in a second here.
All right.
But,
I'm gonna have to go soon too because one, I need to finish my next video, but
What are you
two,
working on? What are you working on?
it's a big secret. It's not. It's a
that's
song about
exciting.
everyone's favorite internet topic,
Which is what?
the
This one?
beloved NFTs.
What are NFTs? I don't know what that means.
NFTs.
I don't know.
Yay. Well, then you're gonna love this song.
Oh gosh, Megan, that's a 2-hour live stream explaining what an NFT is. Just
Are you
there,
serious?
so.
What does that even? What,
Oh,
what does
yeah.
it stand for, though?
It's basically they're selling pictures. Oh gosh, this
Let me tell you what it stands
we can't-
for,
we
and you
can't
tell
do
me if this helps you at all. It
Okay.
stands for non-fungible token. Confused still?
Basically, people are taking like their screenshots and then putting a little stamp on it that says it's like a thing, and then selling them. Yeah, I know. And then
Why
they're
would you
worth
buy
money because
such a
they're
thing?
original art. It's a pyramid scheme.
Sounds like a scam. Sounds like bathwater for sale. Sounds like a
Ooh,
scam.
How much? Who's it?
Not
I was invited.
Is it Amber's?
I was invited to an NFT conference at the end of this month because people. I'm on the internet, so people think I'm savvy with all this that stuff the kids are into these days. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go. I mean, it's in Half Moon Bay, which is really pretty out here. I'm like, I don't mind that. So just what do I do? Oh, well, it's $1,000 a ticket. What?
It's like that Coachella crap.
Yeah.
Like, who goes to Coachella? Like
Yeah.
only people who make ridiculous amounts of money can afford anything like that.
Hey,
Like, I'm like,
Kanye didn't go
Coachella's
to
cool if you go to the like smaller tents. I mean, it's still expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's cool if you go to like the smaller stages where like all the actual like bands are. I don't know why people are going to Coachella to watch like a pop performance. That doesn't make any sense to me really at all.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up because we've been doing this for almost 3 hours and we went an hour over. And but before we go,
Took us
got
2
through
hours
one-
to get through a 6-minute video.
we didn't
Yes.
even.
Yes.
We
One
didn't even.
Elaine video.
We didn't even get through a 6-minute video. We got through maybe 4 minutes of it. We did not even get through the 6
There's a
minutes.
whole other video we didn't even watch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. And we didn't even finish that one. So no, we didn't. But don't forget to go check out Clickety Click. Go to pjmedia.com. Click on my article. It helps me. If you can't send a super chat or a super sticker, I get it. Gas prices are insane. I paid over $5 a gallon today. Sucked big time. So I get it. If you cannot send a
I'd
super
die
chat,
for $5 a gallon gas,
Clickety
Megan.
click,
I would
clickety
die
click.
for that.
Oh,
Go
you're in
click,
Cali,
click.
right, John?
Yes, it's like
Ugh.
7.5. Yeah.
I'm in
I didn't
Texas,
do-
and
I
there's
didn't
some
do
places that are
Pierre
still
at
under
all.
4.
What, Sean?
What?
I didn't do Pierre at all.
Well, now's your chance. What are
Right.
gas prices, Pierre?
Oh, the gas prices in America are I understand they are large for you, but in France they are even more because the French government it imposes much of the taxes. Yes, but yes, you still have it very good in America for the tax prices. Yes, but you know what? It is important for Megan that you press le bouton, press the like bouton. Right there, and aussi presser the subscribe button. So, all right. Bienvenue le français.
Liberté.
Yeah.
You know, I can also do Vader too.
Good.
Vader.
Yeah, that's probably
Are
my
you-
best impression, but I'll have to have my mask next time
You
so
have
I
to
can
bring
really
the
pull it
mask.
off.
All right, cool.
Speaking of Vader,
Well, I could be Megan Fox, and everybody
Oh,
totally
my
believes
Lord.
it.
speaking of Vader, John De La Rose, while I have you here, what are you
Chilling.
thinking?
Yes.
What are you thinking about that new Star Wars thing? I'm watching it too. What's it called? Obi-Wan.
It's a complete train wreck on every level.
See, I like it.
Yeah, you're
I
wrong.
like it. I don't know why everyone hates it so much. Why do you hate
Because
it?
of racism and sexism, of course.
That's not why
but-
you hate it. That's not
People
it.
are rebuilding their apartment next door. I swear to God.
Honestly,
Why?
it felt like a bait and switch again, where Obi-Wan's just getting dragged around by a 10-year-old girl who's better and smarter and amazinger than her. She's so perfect. She's Princess Leia. Yay, she's 10. And I don't want to spoil too much for people who actually want to watch it, but 10-year-olds don't talk like that. They don't act like that. It's, you know, there's insufferable 10-year-olds. There's smart 10-year-olds, but she's literally playing an adult as a child, and she's just better than Obi-Wan in every way. It's just
Well,
like,
I'll tell you what, it bothered me.
Yeah.
The one episode bothered me when they're like on the run and like she's gonna be murdered, he's gonna be murdered, and he's like, do not speak.
Spoilers.
You don't speak. And then she just starts talking to the first stranger they meet. Like,
Because
She needs to
girls
be
get
slapped
it
for that.
done, Megan.
Hashtag girl power. Hashtag believe all
See,
women.
That's why I was really impressed that like The Boys did that as far as like being like an Amazon like modern show, and they were
it's
just
true.
making fun of like the girl power stuff because it's fake girl power. It's not real girl power. This is written like real girl power would be like Camille and Dr. Curry. That's real women you should be looking up to,
Right.
not like lines that are written in a script for a 10-year-old. I will also say that I thought it was surprising of Disney to make the Hawkeye show where, oh my God, I can't remember her name now. Anyway,
Kate Bishop.
yeah, well, whoever they
Yeah.
meant the actress's name, but I like her. I like her in that show. And Girlfly was like, I'm upset that they wrote her so stupid, and I'm like, yeah, but it kind of works because Hawkeye's like, shut up, like you don't know what you're talking about.
I
Like,
didn't
use a
watch
bow and
that
arrow.
one, but I am watching Obi-Wan, and I don't hate it. The kids really love it. My kids love it. They don't have anything bad to say about it. And the girl who plays the villain, I don't know her name, but she was also in that chess thing on Netflix that I loved so much.
That was a
that-
great show. The
was-
chess one.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she was
That was
great in
great.
that. And so I guess I went into seeing her again. I felt happy because I had seen her in the one about the chess genius, and I liked her in that so much. And so I felt very happy, like, oh, I like her. She's a good actress. And so far, she hasn't bothered me in any way. And if there is anything wrong with her character, it's more of a writing problem, in my opinion. It's definitely not her acting ability. 'cause
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
she's
her
a good
acting either.
actress.
Yeah, well, that
I
happens
think-
with some stuff. That's why, and people get it confused though. They think that if you're criticizing someone's character, that means you're criticizing them as a person. And some people do. Some people go online and be like, "I hate you for being this character," which is dumb, also.
Right, the
But that
Queen's
it also
Gambit.
happened.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
She's in the Queen's Gambit, which is an excellent show. I highly recommend.
it's also an excellent Star Wars board game. So there you
It
go.
is actually an excellent Star Wars board game. Wow, that bringing it back, Gadfly.
I got it. It's right there.
You do? That is, by the way, that's one of the
I don't
most
know what
out
it
of print, sought after board games.
Really?
It's beautiful
I know.
stuff.
It's like my most expensive one.
Yeah.
Well,
I generally speaking, think that people are the criticisms of these large space opera sort of shows are just I think they're honestly I typically think they're too harsh. It's kind of like just suspend your prejudices and disbelief.
No, I just write them better. I just write them better. That's the problem.
I disagree with you, Sean.
Okay, that could I could see that, right?
We
But,
can't. We can't
Can I
say like
say
Star
something
Wars
that's
is the best trilogy ever made, which is what some people think. It's the best trilogy ever made, and also we should just suspend our disbelief if the show's not very good. And no, stuff needs to be good.
Okay, wait though. There's a part of me, and this is going to be unpopular with you two down below there, who are very big Star Wars fans.
I am not. I hate Star Wars.
Oh,
Actually.
you hate Star Wars. Okay. Or then maybe you won't care. But there's a part of me that thinks this entertainment, including Marvel movies.
Thanks, Megan.
What? Yes, you're welcome. There's a part of me that thinks there are too many adults who care about these children's movies. They care so much about movies that are made really for children. I
So
don't
wrong.
think Star Wars was made for adults.
That's it. That's the best point. Yes.
I mean, it's made for kids, and Marvel movies too, like the Avengers and all that stuff. Those are superhero movies, and I'm not saying you can't be an adult and be into these things, because I enjoy them too, but not to the extent that my children enjoy them. And so I prefer them to be good for the kids to watch, because I think it's geared towards children. But I'm not trying to offend adults who are still playing games and doing these things that, enjoying these things. It's fine. It's just that, do we really need to get that into the weeds?
I will go against this a little bit though. Yes, the originals were made for children. The problem is the new ones are actually geared towards adults.
They are
and
factually made
nostalgia.
for adults.
And they actually put a lot of adult themes. Most of my criticisms of things like Doctor Strange, for as a side example, like I took my kids to that and it was horrific. It was the most violent.
Are you talking about the new one?
The new one.
Oh no,
terrible
I haven't
violent
seen it yet,
imagery.
and my kids
It was
love
so
it.
far. It was so
I
far
haven't
into
shown it
violent
to you.
imagery. They had
Oh,
a
no.
girl wearing her little trans pin, like the flag pin, like the
No,
entire movie. I'm
stop.
dead serious.
Who?
You're talking about Doctor Strange?
Doctor
they had
Strange.
Stop spoiling
they had
stuff
a
for
bit
me,
in it.
John.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to spoil the movie, but they spoil the part
trans
where
pin?
I'll spoil this part. The whole movie, she wore it, yeah. And then, like they had
He
a
took off
scene
his
where
headphones.
Doctor Strange is like, your moms are great people. Your moms, plural, are wonderful. Yeah, I know they stuck
Pride
that
Month.
in there. So they're definitely pushing this stuff like that is adult themes onto children intentionally at this point, and kids shouldn't be watching that. Kids should
It's okay.
not be watching.
Just watch
that. It
the
is
Chinese
really bad.
version of it, and that'll all be cut out.
It's great.
Yeah, if you watch the Chinese version, you won't hear any of that stuff. That's true.
Yeah.
They don't allow that.
No, I'm fine with violence in movies. I love Sam Raimi. I'm okay with graphic imagery.
Look, it's great. It's great for an adult. It's not great for my 8-year-old.
It's not good for 8-year-olds. I agree.
Yeah.
But let's not forget. Hey, I have to say this because I don't appreciate someone saying it's for kids and also being like the movie's rated PG-13.
Yeah,
your
I
own
know
fault.
that.
Your
But
choice.
you know
your
what?
fault.
They're not.
the
They're
movie's
not.
fault.
They're not designed for 13 and up though, for real, and they're not marketed towards it either.
Well,
the amount of
I'm
marketing
still
towards
blaming you.
like that, the Doctor Strange crap that like my little kid's getting and his little McDonald's toys and all that crap. It's definitely marketed towards him. He's the one who drives like, let's go see this more than anybody else in the family.
I
So,
know, but
yeah.
it's the same thing as people being like, "Oh, these Call of Duty games for my 10-year-old are so violent." It's like, yeah, the game says don't let them play it.
Don't let them play it.
So
yeah.
don't bring him unless
Well,
it's PG-13
right.
and you think it's fine.
But
It's not
again,
for-
all the other Marvel movies up till this point were not that bad.
But that's good. But that's why I like the Harry Potter franchise, is because it starts in the youthful area, and kids who saw Iron Man in 2009 are 13 years older now. And for stuff to
Yes.
get more progressively a little bit more scarier, a little bit more adult, I think that's good. That's what made
well,
Harry
Iron
Potter
Man
a good book
2009 is
Wait a
series.
great.
minute.
My 8-year-old could watch that, and it's
Wait a
fantastic.
minute.
There's
Except
no problem
when
with that.
when
Yeah.
the kids get into a character or something in a Marvel thing, like Doctor Strange, who has been in several movies before this one,
Correct.
and they think
Mhm.
he's really cool, then they do not understand why they can't see this new one. Because now I didn't even know it was that violent. So now I'm
That's
gonna have
the
to
deal.
tell the little ones they can't see it, and they had seen it before. That kind of sucks.
Well, the
I
first
mean,
movie
does.
starts with a person getting beheaded. So what do you mean?
The real problem, and is
I
actually the
don't
movie
remember
rating
that.
system. If you look at TV
Well,
rating
isn't
systems,
that convenient?
there's
don't
four
remember.
four different ones. There's Y7, Y10, TV14, and TVMA.
Yeah.
And having the PG-13, which 13 is so all over the map. Like sometimes it's a kids movie, sometimes it's like a rabidly adult
Right,
movie. I mean, it just
right.
is there. And R, it really needs like to break down into a 4th rating. I mean, that's the crux of the problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We solved everything, my friends.
All right. We got
No,
to get
let's
out of here.
disagree more. Let's talk more about movies. You
There are
jerks.
things in there I don't agree with.
I bet. I think you're all wrong. I think a kid should watch The Thing.
Right.
He's asked to watch those horror movies. Like that's another topic. Okay, sorry.
All right. Please do not forget clickety click on PJ Media articles that I write. I'm still covering all of this trial stuff that's happening afterwards. I'm paying attention. I will be writing more about it. Please like and share. Click on them for me. It really helps. Oh yeah. Foxy Fox says, yeah, I want a peaceful movie experience that I can see with my parents too. Megan talked about that on Mercato. We were talking about how uncomfortable it is to sit through these extremely graphic nude scenes when you're watching a movie with your parents, even now as an adult. Like if I want to watch movies with my mom and dad, and I do not want to be dragged through some pornographic scene where you have to like get up and make an excuse that you have to go to the bathroom or something because nobody wants to watch porn with their parents.
I will.
This
I
is
will
funny. We
absolutely
watched
agree
Top
with
Gun.
the last sentence you said.
We watched Top Gun the other day, which is PG, Gadfly. Top Gun is technically PG. There's a very
But the
spicy
PG-13
scene,
rating didn't exist at that point, did it?
very spicy scene in that. Did it?
Because it didn't exist when like Back to the Future came out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're right. Looney Turner says the 80s movies, oh my God, they were horrific. All the movies that we watched as kids, they had
great.
so much swearing in them.
Hell
I tried
yeah.
to show my kids Harry and the Hendersons, which I remembered being this great, fun kid movie. No,
Great movie.
in the first 5 minutes, the little kids are like, hey, you asshole. Hey, I'm trying to show it to my 6-year-old. And I'm like, oh no. And the whole thing, Goonies is full of swearing everywhere.
And children should watch it. I agree with you, Megan. Good point.
They should watch it. I mean,
They should.
You know,
I let
Absolutely
my
should.
I let my kid watch Harry and the Hendersons when that age, and little tidbit. There's a film scene there where it went right past the house I lived in when I was.
We
a
all
kid.
loved the volleyball scene
So-
in Top Gun.
I don't know why we
we
didn't think it was weird though. Why didn't we think that was weird with all that swearing? Because I
Because
know
it's not weird.
my
It's
friends
not
and I
weird.
did not.
But you know
fuck with
what I
that.
told my son? I told him this. I said, you know what? You have to learn the full language. You have to learn all of it. That includes the profanity, right? And you can, but you also need to recognize that there's adult language and there's kid language.
Yeah.
And
I
you
tell my
need
kids
to
the same thing. Like you're gonna hear
Right.
these words, but you're not allowed to say them. Yeah.
Right.
Better
And
not
when
say 'em.
or more important than that, when it's appropriate to say them, right?
Right.
When it's appropriate
When.
to say them, if you smash your thumb with a hammer,
Yeah.
right, and you're all alone, it's completely appropriate to use profanity, right?
Yeah.
But it's not appropriate for you to use profanity in your classroom, right?
Don't say it to your
Soupy says-
teacher. That's bad.
Soupy says kids are swearing as soon as they get away from the house. That's probably true, but
Oh,
I
they
will say
totally
that
are.
in my own experience, when I was in school, we weren't doing that. Although we watched all those movies, but when we were in like middle school, hardly anybody was swearing, and certainly not me and the girlfriends that I had. We were all too scared we were going to get caught. Like, because in that day, you get caught swearing, and the principal is going to paddle you. So, it was okay. Super chat. My cat's name is Karen. Swearing is the least of my concerns. Yeah, mine too. As a parent, for sure, that's the least. However, I've actually had this happen where one of my younger children used a word at school that caused a very big kerfuffle. And it was an accidental thing.
Was this at the public or
No,
like what kind of
private,
school
at
was
the
it?
private
Okay.
school. And it was really not fair. She got set up. But anyway, it was one of those things where you're like, oh, of course it had to happen to my kid. And it just so that's why the movie thing kind of bugs me, because it's like my 7-year-old has no filter. So if he hears things that he shouldn't hear, and he will repeat them if he doesn't understand, and he doesn't understand them. And then it can lead to, who knows, these days, because you get canceled for anything. And so any of these epithets that they might hear, it's just, I'm very sensitive to it, because I think, oh my God, we'll be branded for life. I want to be careful, but I don't know. When we were kids, we heard all of that stuff and we didn't do it. So I don't know.
Not everyone's a saint like you, okay? All right.
I just didn't. I didn't start swearing until I was like 22, 23. That's when I really let loose. And yeah, no, I love swearing. Swearing is fun.
Megan was sitting in her school. Where'd the cross go? Oh my God!
Did you lose your cross?
Oh no!
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
That's bad. It's a bad omen.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know much about that, but I think that's not.
Oh, I'm in
what you're
trouble.
Don't lose your cross.
Oh no!
Now I can't block the porn spammers.
Oh,
good.
I found it.
Gracious. Oh, Foxy Fox says Megan Fox teaches me bad things.
You found it. Okay, good.
Mark's
May
safe.
the power of Christ compel you. Laney.
Yeah. I agree.
Oh man. All right. Well, you know what? Today might be one of the last days that we get to close out the show with my favorite song.
Oh, God.
Camille.
I hate this song. Whoever made this is stupid.
And if you have not gone to Gadfly's channel to subscribe to him,
Do it.
You need to. And his YouTube channel is in the description of this video. So you can find it there, or I will go over to his YouTube channel right now and get the link so that you guys can, I'll put it in the chat for you. But you need to subscribe to him, show him some love. He's got some new songs coming out. When are they going to drop?
Yep.
That's not the answer to the question I asked.
Yeah, they sure will.
At some point. All right.
No, the next couple of days I'll have
Form
it out there.
a conga line, because it's about to happen.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
and pay tribute to the Queen.
I saw an angel dressed in white in Fairfax, Virginia, and she had to fight a serpentine inside that was spewing lies. With delicate sights, I know that this is the answer. What